This episode of Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Alright kids, buckle in. Been threatening it for weeks now. Welcome back. It's time for the Snyder Cut review. I am Phil. Joining me as always, that fancy man with the fancy facial hair. It is.
I'm late, but it's worth the wait. Charlie the Professor-esser!
All right, and Queen of the Armadillos and drunk as a skunk, it is.
Lilith 3 Sheets to the Wind Hellfire!
Woo! Live and in human form.
Whoa.
As opposed to her usual armadillo form.
And of course, we got our big round table going. So, of course, from the Krypton Report podcast, DC Superfan himself, Mr. Tyler Patrick.
Hello, everybody.
Woo! Tyler!
Yay!
I am here.
All right. And of course, no round table will be complete with those maniacs, Dianne and Marnell from Fighters and The Real Housewives.
Always extra.
I should say...
Our sisters from the Great White North.
Hey, Lilith Sue, Marnell, and then Dianne Cougar.
That's sister-in-law.
It's legal if it's in law. That's what I always say.
All right.
We're only half sisters.
And those two maniacs. Steve, I put you up there to separate those troublemakers, so.
Good luck.
I know.
Steve, is that a Sunguli shirt?
It is.
Awesome.
I think Charlie's about to propose. All right.
I love Sunguli, man.
All right.
Is this Capes and Lunatics or is this Love Connection?
It's always love, man. If you have the love, that's the start of any story. Like the love between Martian Manhunter and Jonathan Kent.
Oh,
Fight me, nerd.
all right. So across the pond, we got Jamie from Ghost Heads and Radio Free Endor.
Hello.
Hello, Jamie.
Thanks for having me back again.
Glad to always have you.
And joining the roundtable for the first time, may God have mercy on his soul, Connor from Last Sons of Krypton and the Iron Fist podcast. Hello, Connor.
Hey, how's it going?
Connor, is it true you're a clone of both Kal-El and Lex Luthor? Or is that a different Connor I'm thinking of?
That's the Connor with the E.
Oh!
Yeah, no Superboy.
My bad.
I couldn't get Ray, so we got the younger, prettier version. So,
well, there you go.
Podcast
young
version.
And pretty in his image there.
Podcast virgin. You said we were sacrificing a virgin at the end of this, right?
Well, I have a child, so I'm good.
Yeah, I don't think we have a virgin available. So
I have two.
No. The thing about being a virgin for witchcraft is that your blood cannot be used in any other spell. It has nothing to do with sex because virginity is a social construct that.
Well, we still can't use any woman on this podcast. Hey,
my wife and I done some
virginity and gender, both marketing.
Just saying, I'm just doing some weird.
The most powerful force on earth.
All right.
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait, we're talking over someone. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right.
No, I'm mumbling some funny stuff under my breath that if my wife heard, she'd probably slap me. So,
Yeah, so better to keep it under your breath. That's.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you
Do
would
not
have
thwart the
spent a lot of time in that basement,
That's a
Tyler.
bad idea. Okay, so anyway, hey, did anyone watch the Snyder Cut recently?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, first thing I want to bring up, how do you guys feel about the aspect ratio? I mean, I watched it on a projector, so it's like not a big deal to me. But
Loved it.
on regular TVs.
Is it just me, or does that not seem like the aspect ratio for film? It seems like the aspect ratio. This is a weird thing with what's his name? That guy who did the moon landing, Kubrick. Like he always shot in that 4:3 ratio because that is the ratio that you get in the editing bay.
I thought it was like IMAX.
It's just for IMAX, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it goes back to supposedly being shot on IMAX. I've read all kinds of conflicting stuff about like how the image is presented more central and you see more. Like I even did some like because I was interested in just the aspect ratio change. Just
you can tell we literally cut a lot out of the frame, so I tend to kind of believe it.
I did hear that it's because when Zach was filming it, it says that the ratio is so because there's a lot of superheroes going up and down in the middle of the screen, so he wanted the maximum tallness to get the full shots of them going up and down as they fly up and fly down.
Apparently, it fits on an iPad perfectly.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
I just dropped like
the devil.
2 photos of like some aspect ratio explanation pictures that I was looking at just to help explain like why. But it also comes down to like you know whose movies like I thought about this like would be really good in this aspect ratio. I think like Wes Anderson. You ever like watch Wes Anderson films?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
he films very central, where like your eye is drawn to the middle. I was thinking about this when I was watching some stuff on how he made what's the hotel movie? Anyways, I was thinking about that, like, you know, with being the box and like the centralization, like I think some of his movies could benefit from that type of
Zack Snyder trying to be artsy. We get it.
I mean, I don't know nothing about no aspect ratios, but I could see the green screen in half of these scenes.
Well, you know.
The CGI I mean, to be fair, blue and green are popular colors in superheroes. So you put the blue and green on, people are going to show up.
It was that beginning shot with Luthor, with Lex Luthor in that goo. I thought, it looks like he was doing the old just standing in a bathtub, and they've just inserted him into the Kryptonian ship.
Well,
I'm not blaming the bad CGI on the Snyder Cut because the original version had just as bad CGI. Doing Henry Cavill's mustache out of the shot, like
why do you bring this up, my love? Why do you?
Oh my god!
Because it's awful.
Like my comment on that is, from everything I've read, like this film, the print of this came from the work print that Zach had himself.
Of course, as I've said.
So there wasn't that much special effects completed on his print. So then you think 4 hours, 70 million, and then how much you get into later where it's just special effects. I mean,
we're going to talk special effects upgrades. How do we feel about Steppenwolf? Do you like Justice League Steppenwolf, or do you like this?
Fantastic! I thought.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No.
Okay. I was going to say Steppenwolf in this version for me was absolutely fantastic. The look of him was just mint. His armor, the way his armor was like constantly moving. I loved it compared to the ball sack that the guy had in the last one for an head. Ugh.
So
can we walk over to Aquaman for a minute?
Well, okay. I have everything to say about Steppenwolf. I'm actually going to agree on this that Steppenwolf's armor was alive.
Yeah. Got him to agree.
And that is what I liked about it. I also, I felt
Spider-Man.
that, there's a lot of power seep and growth in this where it's like, this causes pain, but that doesn't kind of stuff. Where I felt it was a little inconsistent, but his armor was very much alive, very much what was not present in the TV's Inhumans, what I don't think they've ever really gotten right with Venom. In that sense, I think Steppenwolf's armor as a living entity, as a part of him, was very good. That said, that I like the design, not that much, just because it was a disco ball design. I would have felt if it had more of a organic look to it, it might have been even better. But as it was, it communicated what it was supposed to be. It was a living armor that he was wearing. That the armor was as much a part of him as much as anything else, and that was very well communicated. This is where I'll say one thing you can't say about the Snyder Cut is they don't
the story.
Yeah, they don't. They do communicate. This is a film. Yeah, and as I say, you have 4 hours and 3 years, you can fix anything. And this film definitely delivers, definitely communicates what Zach wanted, right down to the love between Jonathan Kent and Martian Manhunter, which I think is the core of this film.
Save it for the end, Charlie. Save the
That's the core of the film. It explains everything. Everything in this Snyder Cut is based on the love between Jonathan Kent and Martha Manhunter. That makes so much sense. That is the exact reason. That's why Martian Manhunter isn't getting involved, because they killed his baby, man. His little cow. They killed him. This Batman cannot be trusted. He's a murderer. Why are you, no, of course he's not going to get involved with him. He doesn't know this guy. He killed his baby. His sweet, lovely baby.
Where'd you get this from?
I gotta dial us back to the CGI for just a minute.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Suit, as you said?
I gotta dial us back to the CGI for just a minute. Aquaman was god awful. I almost swore. Sorry, Phil. It actually completely ruined me on DC movies. Aquaman was horrible. This film,
I thought it was an upgrade.
There were moments where the Amazons looked like little dangling dolls. It was terrible. They had $70 million additional dollars. They had how many additional years? And this is what they did?
They had 1 year.
Not a thing.
They had 1 year.
And to be fair,
to complete it.
Like Amazons, he doesn't like Atlanteans.
Yeah, but it's a movie.
Horrible.
I've seen better special effects on the CW. That's a TV. But
Thank you.
Oh, no, let's not go
Yeah,
that
but this was a better story.
Let's not go that
I will
far.
die on that hill.
Past Flash. What was that at the end? Because
I said not everything, not everything, but I have seen some better.
Flash season 1 effects, better than this.
Oh, the cartoon yellow and red slur, that was really amazing.
Better than Ezra Miller, and I'll die on that hill too. #Flash.
Agree, Lola.
Be prepared to die on the hill painfully because that Flash. Oh god, I couldn't even get past the pilot of that show. Like the effects of the Flash, the super speed. They did the most boring, cheap looking stuff.
Ezra Miller can go choke on that hot dog, okay? Okay, why did we get like 7 different mini music videos? Let's let the water crash.
Let me defend Ezra Miller for a moment.
No!
Okay, look. So, it is a trope now, ever since they did this in Marvel. It's a trope that speedsters have a hard time dealing with the world because the world moves so slow.
I don't know. They do it on TV just fine.
But no, what I'm trying to say is, this is Snyder trying to incorporate that into this, just like he incorporated the first flight scene from Iron Man 1 into Cyborg. He's trying to incorporate that Marvel magic as he was asked to do. And so he's trying to incorporate that idea that the Flash's brain is moving so fast, that's why he has a hard time focusing. That's why
I'm going to have to stop you right there, Charlie. What he was trying to reflect, actually, because he said this in an interview, it kind of was like, basically, and I feel bad for not liking the character, it's kind of like because his daughter was awkward, and that's why we have the suicide prevention billboards and stuff like that. That was all kind of for all.
No, I understand the idea of neuroatypical. And yes, he was trying to represent a neuroatypical superhero. But what I'm trying to say is that the atypical superhero does derive from...
It doesn't derive from Marvel, though, buddy.
Well, it derives from the idea that speedsters have a hard time dealing with the time differentiation from when they, within the Speed Force, have to
observe the universe. Not in DC universe.
That's a pretty old...
Keep it over there.
That's a pretty old concept, though. I don't think that started.
I like to give Marvel the credit for everything because I'm a Marvel fanboy. I'm a stan. I'm a stan for Stan, not going to lie. But the fact of the matter is, I do see what he was going for with that. I don't think Ezra Miller communicated as well as he could because he came off more Rain Man-y than ADHD.
The argument felt forced.
Yeah. Can we talk about Ezra Miller for just a second? Because Marnell and I just finished podcasting The Stand, the reboot of The Stand. Ezra Miller was god-awful, and he's god-awful.
He is not my trash can man.
Thank you!
Did anyone ever watch...
They made him trash can man in that?
Yeah. Yes, they did. It was terrible.
That was his he should fire his agent. You don't do 2 neuroatypical characters in a row.
It's not really in a row, bro.
Yeah, he wasn't neuroatypical. He was like a velociraptor with a kazoo stuck in his throat.
Yeah.
With a terrible BDSM outfit.
Oh, yeah. And dirty
I'm just saying
tight
who Trash Can Man is. And I mean, I would not, if I was Ezra Miller's agent, I would not want those two films coming out at the same time.
Did anyone ever see We Need to Talk About Kevin?
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was the film. That was the film that I had watched. And I was like, okay, this guy seems like he could act. Like, I was interested. And then
he's been great in other things. It's just he's lost his magic as it happens. He must not have been sacrificing enough babies or something. I don't know.
He was great in that video where he slapped that woman. Oh, I can't remember what it was.
From that moment on, he was never going to be my Flash.
And then he was good in Fantastic Beasts. And then, so I had...
Debatable.
No, he was not good. Tyler, no.
Like a weirdo anyway. So
right.
He is a weirdo.
That was the character.
That's like Jason Momoa being Jason Momoa. That doesn't count.
Yeah, so I think Ezra Miller should definitely get a better agent or a better manager, someone that's reading.
I don't think that got anybody hyped for Flashpoint though. Like I'm just saying.
I'm just hoping that
which
under a different guidance that maybe we can get a better performance out of him.
Saying that though, in the original cut of Justice League, he saved 4 people in a truck. Right, in this version, he saved the world.
Exactly.
And I have to say, I even though I don't like Ezra Miller, I loved that scene. That scene to me was fantastic.
Yeah, the Russian family had to go. That was just, you could tell clearly that was an extra pick of Justice League.
Oh yeah,
so. It was a way to, and I get what Joss was doing too. It both failed. What I will say is, what he does is he rewinds time. He does a Superman 1, which was cool when Superman did it the first time.
No,
I guess it works this time.
No, it wasn't.
It was trash. It was always trash.
Superman fans like trash.
Okay, I'm just trying not to step on any Donner fans in the audience, okay?
Everybody knows that part was bull.
Charlie thinks Superman 3 is high art, so.
I like Superman 3.
No, I think it's good. There's a difference between high art and good, Phil. I can respect what Superman 3 brings to the mythos without calling it high art. Just like I like Superman 3 too.
Donner cut of Superman 2 though, bro. If you have not seen it, please go see it.
It's got
anyway.
Yeah.
I don't need to release any more cuts of films I've
that
already
needs
seen.
70 million on it.
But what I will say is no, yes, Flash gets the hero moment. Although it's also kind of so here's what the thing about the Flash's hero moment is: it only comes after he fails in the hero moment. So, and to give it a comparison to Superman 1, Superman 1 fails to stop the last bomb because he's going to save other things. Flash just trips, gets shot, gets whatever happens. And why suddenly he can't outrun that? Why suddenly the parademon can see him? It's okay. No, now it's just a lucky shot. He gets felled by a lucky shot. Okay, I'm going too long. Fine, Phil.
I'll take Charlie for 50.
You can just say, but it's a difference. It's a difference.
2 times for that.
It's a different cinematically when your failure is because I failed, so let me just do a do-over. And it's I failed because I was doing something else.
Well, he didn't fail until he got shot.
No, he did fail. He failed because he got shot.
Right,
that's a failure.
He got shot.
Which is a failure.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever played video games, Tyler, but when you get shot, that's when you lose.
But I'm just saying, it's like if you were walking outside and you tripped and fell over something your child left outside, and you know what I'm saying? And then I'm like, Charlie, you can't even walk, man. You fail at walking.
No, but
you
what is
failed.
Essentially, it's a time heist. So essentially, it's like, we failed the first time, so we're going to go back in time and fix the problem that we didn't fix the first time.
You know, it's not the only time he went back. It's the only time. It's not the only time he altered time in the movie.
He's not good at it, though. No matter what version it is, he's not good at it.
I will take
we all know Barry McSweeney to the timeline.
So he resurrects Superman by, like, he turns back time at that point too, and he's running so fast that he is able to manipulate time, and then he, like, crashes into the side of the ship and just, like, walks it off, and then all of a sudden he gets a flesh wound, and he's like, I can't run!
Yeah, well, that guy shot him. If I had a flesh wound with that kind of thing, I'd be like, oh.
Yeah, look,
healing. Doesn't he have
there's
a healing?
Difference between...
Well, that's what he says. He says heal, and he focuses and heals because he's shot by a kid. Because think of this. Look at the before scenes of when that thing is shooting and the damage it's doing to other things.
Oh, yeah.
Then he is hit by that, knocks him down, and then he gets up and he's telling himself to heal, and you see it healing. I mean, it's not executed perfectly, but I understand.
And he's panicking.
What they're doing.
And again,
we're done.
This is where Snyder actually does shine.
He crashed into the side of that ship, running so fast he manipulated time, and he didn't even, like, break his nose or have a head injury.
Because that protects him.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. That's why they actually established.
Because Speed Force, that's just a thing.
That's not a question. There is a physics involved.
It's a Speed Force aura. Yeah, he has like.
There is, and that's when he saves Iris. Because if you think about it for 1 second, he is like breaking every bone in Iris's body while he's saving her. But actually, what he's doing
better than a Gwen Stacy neck snap.
Fair enough. But what he's doing is he's removing the he's removing the inertia. He's removing the kinetic energy from her, taking it upon himself, returning it to the Speed Force so that she can be in a stable place.
After he stares at her creepily as she's flying.
He's a creeper. I'm not going to say this guy isn't a weirdo.
Marnell, high school math teacher.
Don't get me started on that whole. Why don't you get a real job? It's like
that was me, I would have looked.
What more do you want, John Wesley Shipp? I mean,
can I take inconsistencies for 1,000, please?
Yes.
Why did Amber Heard have an English accent in this movie when she did not have one in Aquaman?
She's secretly an Amazonian.
Because you got to look at this. Aquaman was filmed after this. Aquaman was filmed after they decided we're changing. So like this movie exists in its own in-continuity non-bubble because at the time of Justice League is when they said, like, if you go back and read a lot of interviews with anyone from Warner, they did not care about Justice League. Everything they said was about, hey, Aquaman's coming. We're really excited for this. They were looking down the line because Aquaman was the first film of the new regime, the new recalibration. So the film we're discussing doesn't fit because they didn't take the films after this into consideration to that.
But can we talk about when Willem Dafoe shows up?
No, he's right. That is their problem in a nutshell.
Well, I mean, it is their problem in a nutshell, but the actual problem...
They make a plan, they stick with the plan.
So they don't have anyone
expect the plan to go off. Stole the plan away. They're Captain Cold in it, baby.
So,
this is
the situation was that...
Films is not a producer-driven production. That's the biggest problem. Yeah. I mean, Marvel is producer-driven. It's Kevin Feige telling what to do, executing everything across the board so that it has a singular, clear, connected vision. DC, or Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers is the studio, Marvel is its own studio. DC films are under Warner Brothers, which wants to
Kenny Parking actually owns Warner Brothers and DC. But yes,
but it's still a studio. He's not the producer, and Warner Brothers has always said that they are trying to be a filmmaker, behind the filmmaker. Like they want to let the filmmaker do their own thing, which is great for one-offs. But when you want to connect multiple stories in films, you have to have someone.
And that's not even true in and of itself. So,
and the actual answer is Gal Gadot could not do a British accent. And they shot the Amazon scenes with everyone's gonna do
an Israeli
typical
accent.
But I'm talking
British
about
accent.
Amber Heard.
Amber Heard.
Heard.
No, I understand that. But the idea is Amazons and everyone does that high-toned accent, but Gal Gadot can't, and she's the star of Wonder Woman. So everyone has to.
But they're Atlanteans and Amazons. That's two different things.
Well, no. But you're thinking that they actually thought to say Amazons and Atlanteans should have a different accent. And obviously they didn't. So obviously they thought, okay, high-tone British accent, that's what otherworldly aristocrats talk, right?
Yes.
And of course. And no, the real
That's how we all talk.
problem is Atlanteans have a squeak language. Ever heard talks in Dolphin to the other Atlanteans, and yet they're going to create air bubbles to have a conversation.
Yeah, but
and they have a completely viable underwater language.
Yeah, but you got to think they didn't. Oh, go on.
Yeah, why? If you live underwater, why do you have to create air bubbles to talk?
Because it's
And why
cool.
would you- They didn't know.
We can't understand
Going
the
into
squeak
this
language.
Going into this film, they did not know how they were going to do the scenes for Aquaman and underwater. The scenes that we get now from the film Aquaman is only because another director took it that way. You know, at the time when he made Justice League, it was all preparing the ground. It was all, what should we do? Oh, maybe try this. It hadn't been done before.
As I have to say, you don't write something down and it disappears.
Okay, hold on.
So,
Pause.
Sorry.
This is how...
Drinking so everyone talks.
No, like, this is how my friend kind of said it to me. Like, if you want to make it all work. We have the dialogue in Aquaman about the Highborns being able to breathe air, which gives you that great idea of why Volko, Mira, and Arthur, when they're trying to keep Arthur a secret or in an air bubble, no one else can hear them. As far as the dolphin part, my buddy James was like, you know what? He's like, I took it as, like in comics, when it's in English, but it has that little thing that says, translated from. Like, the idea is maybe when they're in the water, that's how they speak to each other. But in Aquaman, the movie, we're getting the translation of it so that we can understand it. And I was like, okay, I mean, it's like one of those, like, okay, whatever. If that's how you
It's
want
like
to
the
do
Star Trek Universal Translator, that way.
But, it's just one of those things that you can't look at this movie and try to fit it into the things that came after, because that's when they changed and did their own thing.
Or before.
This movie, you have to look kind of at mainly BVS, because I still stand, and I've been on numerous things, that Man of Steel was never created to be a shared universe film. It was a standalone Superman movie that they were in post, and they decided they wanted to make it into a universe. And that's why we got a rushed second chapter. Hold on.
Instead of Man of Steel 2.
Still
but
exactly
right,
for that one.
What was the,
I'm jumping in for
the
just a
rush
second.
chapter? I don't know.
Guys,
Yeah.
hashtag save Steve. Steve hasn't said something for like 45 minutes.
I'm sorry, Steve. I'm sorry.
Steve's trying to put out that
jump in. It's like double dutch, buddy.
I vote to give Steve the mute button next time.
I'm just letting you guys get it all out. I mean, you're trying to win me over, and so far you ain't doing it. But
okay,
okay,
movie is,
right. Let me start.
I have a set opinions on this one, so go ahead. Tell me why I should, think this movie is good.
I can't.
Nobody ever said that. Is it better than the Justice League cut? I think so.
I mean,
it's like.
That's my thing is, I look at this film in a way of, it's better than what I got in 2017. I look at it as in the sense that this is what a better picture of what was being done, of what was thought, instead of the jumbled mess that we got.
So
do I think it's perfect? I don't.
No.
Do I think it's better? Yes. Would I really like to see
It's
a
still
whittled
overly
down?
self-indulgent. Yes.
Right. Would I like to see a whittled down 330 version of this?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I would like to see.
And that's the
245, buddy.
economist's point of view.
This is a work print film that was
take slow motion out. It would have been 3 hours. Take the slow motion out.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
all the people walking in slow motion music
We call
videos.
those music video moments.
Yeah.
Isn't
I will say, though, the music that was playing when Flash
the
was
score is
saving the
definitely
chick
better.
was amazing.
Can we just
well,
talk
the
about
soundtrack is by
Amazon Sound
Junkie
Cue?
XL, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very good. The soundtrack
and
is
Hans
very
Zimmerman
good.
came back too.
But I mean, basically, yeah.
No. Amazon Sound Cue. I'm saying that right now. Amazon Sound Cue.
What do you mean?
Wonder Woman is. All right,
could you turn your volume down, bro? Because that's the third time you've been spiking in my ears.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I don't know how to turn the volume down in my speaker. But I don't.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, Steve. This time, I mean, the one thing is, the first time we got kicked in the nuts. This time we just got kicked in the shins. So.
No, I
they hit us in the face with that sack.
Word, Phil. Word.
Because again, that's the economist's query. How much time do we spend on this film for how much better it is than the Justice League cut?
I mean, it's substantially better.
The Justice
League. It is, but it's also substantially longer.
Yeah, but I've seen this film 4 times. I've sat through it 4 times, and I'm really impressed.
Chapters didn't help.
Well,
I've seen it 1, 2, 3, I think 4 times full, and then bits and pieces because my kids keep turning it on.
Yeah, well, I've got it on my pad, which I take to work. So when I'm bored at work and I lay by, right, I've been watching it. I mean, it's pretty good.
Just for critiquing,
this is 4 hours of my life. I am never going to get back.
Do you know
4 hours?
Did you drink like I told you to?
Right? Can I just say, so if we go back to the very beginning, do you know the actual beginning when the credits are coming up? That part where you see Superman that's killed and is in his death scream, going through everything. That had me right there because I thought that's kind of great and creepy at the same time because it activates the mother boxes. And it had me from that point on. I was like, wow.
It does over-explain a lot of things, but then it does explain things that Josh didn't think to explain to us.
I certainly wouldn't get Josh Whedon to edit or refilm my holiday video after seeing what he did to Justice League. But
no, he means Josh Whedon.
Josh Whedon, right.
And shout out to Ray Fisher. He still could have done it in a better way, but he had every reason to be upset.
But,
they ripped everything. And it was kind of the heart of the story. And I was justice for Silas, first of all.
Really?
I'm not really worried about Cyborg, but Silas.
I mean, not for nothing. I just want to talk about
Dr. Stone? His mom.
Yeah.
But his mom, yes.
I loved her parts. I love seeing her parts.
Structurally, it was something that was missing. He just was a nothing character. I won't get into it.
I don't know. I saw Goldmember, and Goldmember did Daddy Wasn't There better. That's what I'm going to say. They did the Goldmember Daddy Wasn't There scene, and it's beautiful and it's delightful, but it's also, I get it. This guy with a very involved, very loving parent is just mad because his other parent isn't involved. And it's for God's sake, dude, grow the F up. You are a genius football player on a free ride scholarship, even though your parents are rich. And, your mom is freaking standing up for you when you're facing off against something you did. And still, but Daddy wasn't there, and I can't live without my daddy.
He's young. There are people that have parents that spent most of their time away when you're growing up because your parents' job took you away. And that hit them hard because they wish that their parent had been there for things, even though their mom was there. Oh, hey, hold on.
Maybe you
my mom was there. Hey,
I don't know.
My mom was there, but you know what? As a boy, as a child, and even as a teenager, I wish my dad had been there for things. Even though my mom was there supporting me, my grandparents were there. But there's certain things that happened in my life that I wish my dad had been there. But he was, serving our country because that was his job. And there's times that he could have been there, but he was busy. So I think for a lot of people, they could connect with that because maybe they're experiencing something similar where they want to win that parent's approval as well.
That was
or
the
they
whole
want
point,
that parent
to make
part.
Cyborg relatable.
Yeah, and it just
so
shows.
I'm just saying, you can argue the execution, but just to argue the fact that he should grow up that his dad wasn't there, I think is a pretty. I mean, why is Tony Stark
crying? That still have that issue.
I mean,
Tony Stark Saturday morning breakfast cereal as a comic strip.
No, I'm just saying,
there's a piece in there about how badly Death of a Salesman ages because it's dealing with the fact that, oh yes, he has a house and 2 kids in college, and he's just sad because he doesn't have a farm. It's F you, dude. The rest of us live in the real world. And your dad was freaking solving scientific problems, and you had a parent who loved you, and your dad loved you too. He just couldn't express it because he was neuroatypical, and you should be ashamed of being so mad about it.
Charlie, well, I mean, isn't that the point? Charlie. I mean, but you are still a child with, Yeah.
You are still dealing with was freaking 21. He was in college.
Charlie.
Don't tell me he's a child.
Until you're 25.
Wait, let me explain this to him. Charlie, you have two boys. If one loved you and the other one didn't want nothing to do with you, wouldn't you be like, could we be like, oh, hey, you got one kid. What are you crying about? The other kid doesn't love you.
Yes, but I'm the parent, not the child.
Doesn't matter.
And also, both my kids know that they love me.
Connection. Who cares? Family member.
I can sort of relate to this because I live up north in England with my wife and my son, and I've also got two kids down south in Leicestershire. Now, when I first moved up here and away, I had some trouble with my kids. They sort of resented me for moving away, even though they were living with my ex, and it was me and my ex that was the problem, not with the kids. Right? And now we're closer than ever now. But there was that point when they were growing up that they sort of resented that I was looking after their brother more, that I've had up here than I had with them. So when we got together, eventually it was all made right, and we're all one big family. But that distance at the beginning, it did put a real bad, it was constantly in my mind. It was constantly on their mind. So I can understand where Cyborg and his father and his mother are all coming from. Because and like when I was a kid, my dad was a long distance lorry driver, and to make ends meet, he drove all the time. So I grew up with my mum more than my dad. You know what I mean? My mum took me to work, and so, she worked all hours where we hardly saw my dad. My dad come in, then he was gone the next day. You know what I mean? So I can understand it. And I forever was going, how come dad didn't come to parents' evening? And that goes on now, with people in families that are being split up. It does affect the children, and they do grow up resentful. And it's only when they've gone, like when he finally picked up that recorder and listened to the part where he says, "This is from the heart." I felt it because when my dad passed away, we didn't have a particularly good relationship, but as soon as he passed away, he's forever on my mind. So the time, even though he wasn't having that emotional connection with him, he were there to see him sacrifice himself, and he suddenly realized, I haven't got any more time with him, if you know what I mean.
No, I understand what you're saying.
No, I agree.
So you're also trying to put adult emotions on a child who does not have a fully formed brain and understanding.
I'm sorry, 19 is an adult.
Your brain's
he's an adult. He's an adult.
No.
But even
wasn't he playing high school football?
He was at GCU, Gotham City University. He's at least 18, unless he skipped a couple of grades and was large for his age.
21 is still young.
Phil,
But to be fair, he's got a lot of anger in him anyway from the start.
Yeah.
I mean, but I have to say, this cut of Justice League, I loved Cyborg in this. I was like, God, it really brought his character from that little bits, and I was going into, seeing what was actually happening in his mind as well as in his body. Yeah. I liked it. I really did.
Okay,
my only thing about Cyborg was
why was he
still Power Ranger?
Why was he stalking that woman? And giving her money?
Was that his friend that they were talking about?
I don't
know. I just think he was skimming. I think it was just an example of him how he's skimming footage.
Yeah.
And he sees this woman, and then he's just learning, and he sees her account. He sees all this different stuff that she's going on from traffic cams and everything. Then and at the same time, his dad's telling him the power he has. And he decides, I'm going to help this person because he wants. We've already established that Victor has a good heart. That's what his mother said. Why he hacked into the school's computer and changed.
And it's a classic SNL bit about why doesn't Superman pick up the garbage? Because he could do it all in super speed. Why doesn't he pick up the garbage every day?
Because garbage men need jobs.
Yes,
well, no. This was during. I'm sorry. I'm referencing.
Yes, Diane.
one note character, one note actor, terrible. Brains are not finished fully forming until your mid-20s. Just saying. Yeah. Neuroscience shows that.
That is true, and I'll grant that. I will grant that, but it's a lot to hang a film on.
I'm still waiting for mine to mature.
Oh yeah, honestly,
me too.
They don't mature. What? They just keep on growing.
How do you feel about Cyborg, Steve?
It gets too big and you die.
Cyborg is one of the
indifferent.
It's one of the big issues I have with this movie in general. Is what I call that this movie is basically Marvel chasing. In that DC went, wow, they got the Infinity War. We need something like that, and so they basically told the same story. You know, you have two super CGI monsters that are collecting things that if they assemble them all together, they're going to either destroy the Earth or rule the Earth. And the big difference is...
Who's going to tell them? DC fans, who's going to tell them?
I don't know.
But, isn't that comics in general? Isn't that comics in general? Again, isn't Thanos just a ripoff of Darkseid?
Yeah, are we going there? Like,
actually, if you actually read the history of the comics, Thanos was not expressly a ripoff of Darkseid.
But
they literally told him to rip off Darkseid. Like,
thank you.
Good, Connor, what'd you say?
They literally told him to rip off Darkseid, like rip off the good new Darkseid.
CBR records to check that.
Oh, you can't trust CBR. Come on.
Oh, your boyfriend, CBR.
Brian Gordon. Brian Cronin is a gift to this nation. Let
Dianne talk.
I have a question as someone who is not comic book cool. So, is Marvel a ripoff of DC, or is DC a ripoff of Marvel?
Let
me go first.
Tyler, it's your turn. Tyler!
It's my time to shine!
No, all I'm going to say is, you look at the history, you had person A go work for one and create something, then go jump and go work at the other one, and then basically just recycle their own idea. Like, comics history is basically creators bouncing back and forth from both companies. Yeah. So, I mean, that's why I say, like, isn't that just comics in general? Because there are so many storylines that are so similar because you've had talent work for both companies that...
Look at you, Denny O'Neil.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just like... And I joke, it's like, look at Jack Kirby, like, he worked for both sides. And he did great work at both sides.
That's the saddest story.
Well, that was the business back then,
Exactly. So you come up with one great idea, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then you go to both companies like, hey, I got something to sell you.
I'm not even talking about comic. Marvel just did the movie better than DC.
And for what it's worth with comics, that's what Marvel did too. Shots fired.
Debatable.
Yes.
That's a whole nother argument. That's a whole nother argument.
Hey, we live in 2020, not 1980, when it was a completely reverse situation. Let's be honest here.
Even right now, there's a lot of questionable comics that are getting canceled. So
I got drunk on the hook. Marnell, what were you saying?
To elaborate on what Steve said, I went through this movie, and the more recent DC movies, I'm like, stop trying to be Marvel. DC for me is the old Batman with Michael Keaton, and it's dark and it's broody and it's Watchmen and it's nihilistic. That's what DC is to me. Marvel is supposed to be kind of light and funny and like Big Bang, like superpowers and we're going to save the world. Like DC is like the rotten underbelly and like stay in your lane. Go with what you know.
That's what's funny is like when you say that, like it's supposed to be dark and broody, and that's what this is. And then a lot of people don't like that because they want the brighter versions of the
I just don't see it. I feel like
this film is actually really bright. Well, that's what I want to say.
It's better.
Man of Steel.
It's better color coded on this film than there was on the Josh one, especially at the end when in the old one it was all that pink and red, and this one you can properly see it, and I love the blue. There was the shield. I loved it. I loved the color. I loved how it's cleaned it up.
I absolutely think that Snyder did a better color palette. But Joss Whedon, that is his shtick, his color palette. Joss Whedon is okay. You don't have to raise your hand. Shout. That's how you dominate a conversation.
I'm trying to teach my kids because I'm homeschooling my children, so I'm like practicing trying to reinforce to my children how when they're on their Zoom calls, like to raise their hand. Did anyone watch The Blade, the Justice is Gray version, or at least like
I haven't gotten the chance to. I actually do want to see it.
I want to just throw this out there. Like I took where we were watching it, and like I just picked up in the middle, so I didn't like watch it like again. I just finished it one time with it. I will say, because you're talking about color, it is interesting by doing the black and white, how much smoother a lot of things look, because it kind of hides that artificial light from the CG. It hides a lot of like the CG itself. Like it looks more blended. The shadows fall different. It's I say just watch, maybe 10 minutes like from the middle or something, or the end, just to get that idea of like the color, like how this black, because I'm not a fan of like people taking film like, oh, I'm going to do a black and white version. If you didn't set out to make that film, I don't care. Like Logan, Mad Max, when they did all that, I don't care. But for the sake of the review, I thought I'd just, watch part of it. And it was just interesting how the color, because then you don't even realize Superman suit's black or anything. It's just everything is black and white.
Speaking of which, how do you feel about that?
That's actually a problem, I will say.
Okay, I will say that because I know I'm wearing a black Superman shirt just because my daughter picked this up for me
but I will
today.
say that one of the things I loved in WandaVision is the care that artists took to say, how does something in black and white read as a color? So if you don't know that his suit is black, I would say that's problematic. But that's just my opinion.
Well, I'm just going to throw out there this. Like from a production point, everything was shot with the blue suit because Zach wanted the black. Yeah, and the studio pushed back, so he shot it all with the blue suit, and then the idea was in post, we're going to just make it the black suit.
Yeah, but the suit was CGI, so its coloring should be.
Well, is black and silver suit
in the black and white very
that's
easy.
Isn't that his healing suit? Isn't that the suit that he wears to heal himself?
But here's my problem with that. This is my problem with the black suit in this. I like the black suit only when it comes out as the regeneration suit. Like it's a different kind of suit. There's a purpose behind it. They talk about like it's supposed to help absorb more solar energy and all this. And then in this movie, there's no reason that it's pointed out why he wears the black suit.
But we have all the cool suit shots, man.
Because we see, it's not like it's the only suit on his ship. We see a blue and red suit on the ship, but he looks at the black suit, and that's what he chooses. And to me, it's never.
Why are there multiple suits on the ship?
Because they were going to invade Earth, dummy.
It's all. They're all the House of
Snyder's version. That's my headcanon. Because Supergirl's dead in that ship. I'm just saying.
Oh, well, she was supposed to be the one that escaped. That's why they had that.
Because one is open still.
Because back when Man of Steel came out, Goyer talked about that it was important that was open, and they did that whole prequel comic book that Supergirl Kara was in this version was going to be a farther back descent, and there was actually the idea that Kara went out, or Kara, however they want to say it, whatever. And it was either from her lineage that you got like the Amazons or the Atlanteans or whatever. They were going to try to tie that back into something from thousands of years ago, but then that prequel comic just got tossed away because that ship was supposed to have crashed 20,000 years ago, is what they say. But that whole storyline got ejected, so it is interesting
that... like her body. That's why it's open. That's my headcanon.
That's
my headcanon.
It's interesting that it was there. They brought that back up.
My headcanon is the Superman, the Kryptonian ship is actually the ship from the film The Thing. I'm going to just say that.
All right. Okay, Connor, I want to hear some of your thoughts, but Connor, I'm going to with Connor, we got a Facebook comment that Monk would have been in these films, and Monk is the ripoff of.
Is it Chad? Who is that?
No. Mongol's number one fanboy. Who is it, Connor? Tell them.
Yeah, I know. Razor's a pretty big fan of Mongol.
Ray.
So am I, to be honest. Like, honestly, if I was doing Man of Steel 2, I'm not kidding. Mongol would be on the cards. I would be seriously considering him because
big yellow alien. Why not?
With the way the Man of Steel kind of advanced, the way that like these sort of Kryptonians fight, the super speed and strength and stuff. I mean, having Mongol, makes some awesome punch ups.
Big yellow bruiser.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
the
Suicide Squad. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. But the outfits on the ship, Tyler, I'm pretty sure they're like the House of L's sort of uniforms, right? Like
it's all the different versions we've seen. We saw like the more like dress robe, the space explorer suit.
Yeah.
And then, the different, like if you go back and watch Man of Steel, the different styles of clothes that the different Kryptonians wore.
Yeah.
There's just nothing in the film to me that says, hey, I have to pick this black suit.
Yeah, they could have just had a throwaway line like, I'm still weak, I gotta absorb extra solar radiation, or hey, maybe I'm just, feeling black today. Anything, really.
Not to be rude, but it's already 4 hours. Do we really need that additional scene?
If you originally made it with that explanation in there. That's what I'm saying. Because this would not have been what we saw in theaters or he would have released. So at this point, if you're going to go 4 hours, man, I don't want to be having discussions where we're sitting here discussing why the black. Why is that not in there? Like, why is there no dialogue? Especially if you had Carla Gugino come back and record dialogue and just have the AI of the ship give an explanation like the only suit left. So,
by the way, can I just say how weird it is
Tyler, sorry.
for the ship
what?
to be saying...
Dogs are not buying it, man. You got to do better.
The
My
ship
dogs
is saying,
are very skeptical.
please
I'm
don't
on
do
your side.
this.
Just like their owner.
Like repeatedly, the ship says, don't do this. The ship says, don't do this. We really advise, don't do this. Please do not.
But he's a man, baby. He's got to do it.
It's Bruce Wayne, captain of bad life decisions. Come on.
Yeah.
I will say I do find it very
Tony
interesting.
Stark wants to have a word with you.
I do find it very interesting that Bruce had because the nightmare stuff feels weirdly out of order because Bruce had the nightmare in BVS, and that's what helps propel him to want to kill Superman. But yet, then he says there's an attack coming, and he knows he's wrong, so he wants to bring him back, still having these nightmare. Because then Cyborg gets the nightmare. So it's like, make up your mind, bro. Like,
well,
do you want him alive or do you want him dead?
Well, that's before he decided definitely that he wasn't going to bang Lois. So he's going to go after Diana instead.
Not officially canon yet, my friend.
I was going to say, you guys discussed it on the Snyder Cut super chat that took 4 hours to read.
I stopped.
That was a pregnancy test.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's been pointed out that the end scene when Bruce Wayne had bought back the house, Lois Lane...
You can see it. They actually edited the bump out, yeah.
Well, he says...
Originally she was carrying a box into the house, and now she was carrying like a basket or a bassinette.
And that's why he says, congratulations.
Congratulations. But I want to point out... Wait. In the cornfield, when they are talking, she's like, I haven't been a good person. I haven't been strong. You would be disappointed in me. I think
she banged the billionaire. You can't be mad at
she banged Bruce. Yep. It's baby Batman.
Or worse, it was Aquaman.
No, it's probably baby Lois. I mean,
I always thought congratulations because they didn't bring out the baby thing. I always look the congratulations for the engagement because we have the scene of him like, I'll take that as a yes. She's wearing the ring. So I always took it more as like the engagement is what they're congratulating, because I feel like if you were going to make the baby, you would draw that out and draw attention to it. We would not be having a conversation of what exactly was that for?
In the original cut, there was no pregnancy test, but in the Snyder Cut, they focused in on that pregnancy test. So they left it open.
If she's pregnant, it's so dumb because
raising his hand.
I learned.
He wants to talk the Martian Manhunter love triangle. We're not doing it.
You didn't have a father.
Tyler wanted me to be a more polite person, so I want to be a more polite person. No, but I want to say. So here's the thing. And this is the big debate. We're talking about the Snyder Cut, but we're really talking about our fan interpretation of the Snyder Cut at this point. So
yeah, we are, because it wasn't.
We know that Snyder wanted we know that sort of wanted Bruce Wayne and Lois to have a sexual relationship. Okay, I'm sorry if it's going long, Philip.
No, he's cool because that was one that was ejected like immediately from the script.
Well, no, but what I'm going to say is that makes perfect sense. A Lois Bruce love relationship makes sense if Superman has been dead for a year.
But here's the thing
in their time, but if you make it 2 months, it's a little weirder, but it's not worse. So long as it's after Superman is dead.
She's
really
it's
1 to 2 months.
She's really
and I will accept that.
Screw you.
She's really going to sleep with the guy who tried to kill the man she loves. Okay,
and that's why I'm with Phil on that.
Well, no, first off, he didn't kill Batman.
He tried.
He did not kill Batman.
Should have.
Yes, he wanted to kill Batman, but he realized he was wrong.
No, Batman.
And as we know from films, all it takes.
I want to hear Diane.
Yes, Diane.
I'm just throwing out that resurrections don't take a year.
Well, yeah. It was. They said 1 to 2 months because how I look at it is he died and was buried in the fall, and when he comes back, it's still fall. If you look at
Which
Kansas,
would be perfect for 1 year as well.
But they say, like Snyder said, it's 1 to 2 months. Because my thought was, if they want to show us even that the idea that it's Clark's kid, because now they're saying that it's supposed to be Lois and Clark's child.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It would have to be under, so many months without it becoming more problematic.
Which I agree with 100%. That's the problem. That's the problem with the conversation.
Lois has not been to work. Babies how to grow. You don't know.
Yes, Marnell?
Lois has not been to work since Superman died. And I don't know who can just not go to work for a year. I do know a couple of people who can not go to work for 2 months. So I'm going to go with the 2 months period.
Hold on. Isn't most of America not gone to work for a whole year?
I'm working right now.
We're all working.
And the other thing is we know that Perry has a soft spot for Lois. You go back and watch the other two.
Perry's baby, and that's the plot twist.
That would be cool. That would actually
this baby's a little caramel mocha? What's going on?
Look, all I know is with the introduction of the Martian Manhunter is that now I know how Steve Rogers came back in Wonder Woman 84 because he was the Martian Manhunter.
Head Kevin accepted, sir.
It would be better.
Martian Manhunter
is the manipulating
superhumans on this planet for decades.
It's going to be Steve Rogers and Wonder Woman.
What was going to happen?
It would at least make Wonder Woman not a rapist.
Oh,
yeah. Well,
and that was actually
perfectly for that because it's just like, I got to go back to the old face. Okay, I'll go back to the old face today. So it was always Martian Manhunter. It was Martian Manhunter all along.
Yeah, just
I hate the look of it.
He was Martha
that felt like CW.
I
feel like CW did a better Martian Manhunter. I said it.
I want to throw out that I'm not a fan of how they chose to include Martian Manhunter. It was definitely a retcon.
I got you next time, bro. I know y'all was about to die, but I got you next time.
Doomsday, Darkseid. Yeah, I'll get the next one.
I mean, even then, I like Harry Lennox. I think he would be a great Martian Manhunter, but I really feel like the way that he is brought in and how he was, I've always kind of been here kind of thing. I think it really doesn't play well to his character.
Well, even still, like I said, from the Martha, if we remove the Martha theory and the Steve Trevor theory, which yes, absolutely had canon from it, he is approaching the guy who just murdered an alien because he was an alien. So it's basically like, a guy who has superpowers approaching someone who really, really, really hates aliens.
It's like logic to a Zack Snyder.
And it's the same problem with the Green Lanterns. It's like, hey, I'm from outer space and I have superpowers. We're going to help you. And it's like, I think if we try to help this guy, he's going to freaking straight up murder us.
He'd probably come down and said, hey, before you kill me, Bruce, my mom is called Martha as well.
So does that make Martian Manhunter basically the Watcher of the DCU?
In this version,
yeah, because I mean, if he was Martian Manhunter, he didn't act or do anything more when Zod showed up. He just kind of sat back like, all right.
Or he's run the military.
Or Darkseid.
You know, so
I think it was just an afterthought.
It is because
another alien race invading. And it's like, okay, well, they'll be cool. You know, aliens, you know.
Superman, he's going to be like, I already lost one planet. I'm not going to lose another one.
You know,
no, but he wouldn't lose the planet if he's still there. Okay,
No,
I'll mute it again. So
you know, then he should have. If they wanted a Martian Manhunter, like he should have stepped up. But we know that Martian Manhunter was an afterthought in production because originally that ending scene was scripted to be Kilowog and Tomarek. It was supposed to be two Green Lanterns showed up to Bruce, and then the Earth Green Lantern story was going to be in part 2.
Well, yeah, the HBO Max is coming in too.
But since that didn't happen, they just filmed that scene now with basically altering it to Martian Manhunter.
Yes, Charlie, 30 seconds, go.
Yes, but my point is that Martian Manhunter was always supposed to be the general in Man of Steel.
Right.
At least that is the legend.
Correct, but go back and look at it. It doesn't work.
Hold on, Tyler.
No, none of it works, but then again, none of it really works, but we have to try and piece it together at this point. And at this point, what we can say is the Snyder vision, as we've been provided it, is that Martian Manhunter had a reason to be the general, had a reason to be Martha. And even if we take away that, he wasn't really Martha all along, that's fine. Maybe even he wasn't really the general all along, he just does that when it suits his purposes. It serves the idea that this is the last son of Mars, deathly afraid of a very scary group of humans.
Who
suddenly he has to deal with this idea that, there's aliens coming, but I'm an alien too, so maybe they're going to be cool with it.
Well,
maybe when the Kryptonians invade, they're going to be like, "Oh, you're a Martian? Oh, cool, man. Just chill." And that's the point. It's like, he cares about humans. He cares about John.
In the Facebook, it's saying Darkseid's threat is to all existence. He could not have attachment to a single race or planet anymore, but when the largest threat shows itself, he can no longer because how many thousands of worlds did they say Darkseid killed? I mean,
and how many was freaking Steppenwolf? Oh, when he said 50,000, I was like, dollars? What? Oh, you in trouble, bro.
Well,
you
also
gotta get on your knees. You ain't going home for a while.
But it's not Metis.
Here's another point that Steppenwolf references the multiverse. It's our first in-film series the multiverse is brought up, which makes me, think like the fourth world being that they exist outside the multiverse, so it starts to then like, oh, okay.
We get into that at the end of the film as well a little bit.
Wait, the multiverse was in it? I must have missed that.
Yeah. Steppenwolf says one line about he mentions the multiverse.
Okay.
Charlie.
You missed that in all 4 hours and 13 minutes? You don't remember one line?
Again, that is the Elseworld multiverse, which is the idea of what if Batman was a pirate, which is everything's fine, but now we're in a different point in time and space.
Arr, I'm Batman!
Rather than a Marvel what if multiverse of, something has changed in the universe and now a completely different universe changes. So if you look at it in that idea of that dimensional levels, like that fifth dimensional imp we all know and love, Mitzelplick, then, it could be that, that it's not just worlds, it's literally universes he's conquering. And Steppenwolf has said, hey, when you conquer this entire universe, then you can come back home to our level.
That sounds to me like Thanos saying, until you've tidied up your room, you are not coming down for dinner.
Quite frankly, exactly what it was. It's like you have to conquer all 100,000 worlds, or at least 50,000. He's going to be a good parent.
Sorry, Darkseid, I shall take out the trash, and I'll see you for lunch.
So Steppenwolf can wants Daddy's love. That's okay, but not Cyborg. Okay.
Well, because we don't see Steppenwolf's mom.
We can talk about Steppenwolf's Oedipus complex.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we haven't seen much with Granny Goodness yet,
the mother boxes. Like,
in the Justice Cut, that's all we could talk about. I was like, we're gonna have
mother. Oh, I was just like, oh my god.
Thing though, that's an actual thing though. Yeah.
It is.
I don't know if that was deliberate.
Honestly,
though.
arguably, I think that kind of makes a bit more sense with his obsession with them. But at the same time, yeah, it doesn't. We're trying to get that silk purse here.
It was super Norman Batesy. It was super Norman Batesy.
Who also made a silk purse out of a sow's ear, so it's all connected.
Technically not
comparing women to sow's ears.
Fair enough.
Well, don't you agree that the how they were introduced in this film is far better than the way they were introduced in the last film? Because didn't Batman have to dangle some guy off because they smell fear, and then when they blew him up, it's like, oh god, look, he's got 3 boxes in him. Oh no, they're just stains on a wall.
Hey, a fun fact: I don't think Batman actually kills a bunch of people in this film.
No, he didn't.
That was BVS. That was BVS.
I mean, because the whole point was Batman is on his way back up to being the man he was.
Yeah.
Because of Superman's sacrifice, it's supposed to be Batman is now like he says, I failed him in life.
Back on his track.
I'm gonna, serve. I'm not gonna fail him in death. The whole point of BVS was Batman was on a downward spiral, and then with the sacrifice of Superman. I mean, did you guys catch in the opening shot? I missed this. This had to be pointed out to me. That when Superman is dying and you get the shot of Batman, he's actually got tears in his eyes. Like you can see tears welling up. Yeah. I did not see that until someone pointed it out to me.
Oh, so. What? I mean, wet himself. Thank you, Kevin Smith.
The newsflash, I guess, to people is Batman in BVS is a bad guy. He's a crazy person who wants to impale someone with a spear. Mm-hmm. He is so far fallen from grace.
Well, they said
not subtext.
He still has that, win at all costs mentality, which, don't get me wrong, I agree with, because if you don't win, the entire world gets destroyed. So, but it's one of those things where you always think that your side is the side of good and you're going to sacrifice everything or anything to win because your side's the right side. And yeah,
you're right, because I was saying, when rewatching BVS, like the nightmare that Bruce Wayne has where he goes into the crypt, it lingers on the fact that there is the stained glass painting of the angel Michael spearing down the devil, which foreshadows later that him seeing himself as the angel Michael killing the devil, the alien.
You got that wrong.
What I will say is,
like you said, it's him thinking that he's doing what's
right. Yeah, and I think that that's the problem of Batman is that he makes the wrong choices, and he's trying to amend for them, and that's fair. I think the problem comes in that, every effort he makes is always a half measure because he thinks he's more than he is. And I think that's really what it is. It's a little bit of it's really kind of an objectivist conundrum. Is what doesn't the objectivist do when there are actual gods? Which is Lex Luthor's problem.
Does it make you think he's kind of the man among gods, and the man is fallible and he's making the wrong decisions?
Well, I mean, arguably, yes, but also it is the fact that he has to deal with the emotions of that. And it's like if he had just rejected his objectivist thinking and embraced the idea that, superhumans exist, we should work together because we all want to live in a world that isn't dominated by the anti-life equation. I'll get to that in a moment. Maybe we could all just work together to save things. It's about a misallocation of resources based on an objectivist view of the great man theory of history, and Batman sees himself as a great man, which means that he's going to misallocate resources because he thought he was a great man, and a great man has to be given to you by historians. And a great man is truly the one who allocates resources appropriately in an economic fashion to build a better universe.
Well, I also think that he has the onus of being the only mortal. Everyone else, it essentially sort of lives forever, so they don't ever really have to think about their own mortality. And Batman's the only one that has to consider that, and that kind of makes him, unique in the Justice League. Dianne!
Can I, totally take us sideways again? Talk about the onus of being the only chick in a superheroes movie.
At least she didn't get
Black Widow.
Yeah, I've argued that the Green Lantern should have always been the Earth Green Lantern should have been Jessica Cruz.
Yes,
I have argued that so that we could have had a Green Lantern, and that it would be female. They can retcon and change and amalgamate.
Come on, man.
They can amalgamize her story. They can alter her storyline for all I care to make it not what it is in the comics. I just think that we needed another female on the team, and we need Green Lantern because, it's a Green Lantern. So I always said that that's who it should have been. So Hawk Girl would be cool, but then that opens up all the Gary stuff. And we're all
Shazam.
Zatanna, get us some fishnets. Come on.
Yeah, I'd take Zatanna over Hawk Girl.
Yeah, poor Wonder Woman. And she gets so mistreated,
Okay.
Well, maybe cast someone who can act.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Now you're breaking my
Let's
heart.
back it up. Before anyone says anything.
And she can't make tea.
Connor, you're not wrong, but
Okay.
And Dianne.
Okay,
This
Jamie, the tea thing was funny.
okay.
It
Let me
was
just say
the best thing.
this was Hercules in New York.
I'm filing for
Gal
divorce.
Gadot. Gal Gadot we get by Wonder Woman 1984 is a very different Gal Gadot. This is an actress who's taken elocution, who knows how to do voices, who knows exactly what she's doing. They use.
Has he been seeing the same Wonder Woman?
Oh, he defended that movie.
Well, no.
Yeah, he did it.
I like.
She can't do voices. She cannot do accents apart from her own.
I can headcanon all of it.
In fact, they had to change everybody else's accent to match hers because she couldn't do any other accent.
That's the original.
I love Gal Gadot, but
and I called that out.
Ray Fisher, bless their hearts. Bless their hearts.
I am gagging myself.
But what I will say is he didn't have to use the old Gal Gadot voiceover that they recorded originally. They could have said, "Hey, Gal, can you come and re-record this with feeling and empathy and make it sound like you actually know how the English language is pronounced?"
That's the point.
Just get Ian McKellen to do it.
She's not.
Just hire him.
She kind of is.
No, the Wonder Woman we've got in the Patty Jenkins films is very attached to humanity.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this movie. At this point in time,
I know, but we also want to talk about the good versions of Wonder Woman. And
hold on.
Zack Snyder did her dirty.
Can we also say, talking about Wonder Woman, she had no problem decapitating Steppenwolf, but in Wonder Woman 84, she was like, "Nah, that guy that's making all those bad decisions wishes. I'm just going to put a lasso around him."
He's a poor little human.
Like I said,
totally blew that up in the beginning.
Yeah. Yes, Wonder Woman.
As I'm sure Tyler will tell us, not the same continuity.
Right. Like I said, this is a different, this was done before that was done, and they've already decided to change up. But also, like what Lil's is saying, there's a difference between someone who's bragging, who's slaughtering people, who's massacred worlds, whose whole purpose is to serve basically the devil.
Sorry.
Murdering people who's compared to someone that you can actually see redemption in, who is human that you're trying to save.
But she still should have killed him. Snap, snap.
All right,
Diane.
You're from Gal Gadot.
Okay. Full disclosure, giant crush on Gal Gadot. Full disclosure, paying a huge amount of money for a Wonder Woman tattoo this fall. And, we're erasing Wonder Woman 1984 from supergirl.
Yeah, never
happened.
happened.
Be the new Supergirl.
I just want to say, do you know that scene where Superman punches Steppenwolf, and as he flies through and she cuts his head off and his head flies through the portal and Darcy stamps on it? If you play that scene with the Mortal Kombat theme, right, and right at the end it goes, "Fatality!" It's fantastic. I've been trying to edit it all together, you know, I think, oh God, I've just got to. Yeah, it's great.
Now the ending, Steve. Well, you can see that the ending is at least better.
Actually, the ending was my favorite part of the whole movie.
Because like the Riley
and what
Who is that not true for?
What I mean by that is, I mean like when the movie stops and it goes back to the HBO Max screen saying, "Do you want to watch something else?" That was
oh my God, yes.
Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty.
Now here's the really big question. This is the economic question of the entire experiment.
Ooh,
did you want to watch something else on HBO Max, or did you just say, "Nah, I'm good"?
Oh no, I had to go throw up, so I didn't watch it.
Okay, see, that is the problem. If
Steve,
you aren't clicking to say yes, I would like to stay in your universe, sir.
Steve, did you enjoy the original version of Justice League, right? Over this one?
No.
So you didn't like the original. So you're basically looking at two turds and thinking, which one's the shiniest?
I did like that Zach put the chapters into this version because that was it was nice, natural, like stopping points because you're throwing up so much in the back of your mouth, you need to like go and like rinse it out or whatever. Yeah. So I thought that was a nice touch. But
well, actually, you're looking pretty good for some guy who slapped himself in the face a couple hundred times.
Steve, why did you dislike this so violently?
Well, first of all, I do not like Zack Snyder. I don't understand why Zack Snyder keeps getting the keys to franchises to then drive them into the ground and then gets more keys. And I think that he should go back to be making car commercials. And don't even get me started. I've never even seen the end of that movie because you can't finish it.
I mean, that's the point Lilith made. Lilith, you said that a couple weeks ago. You're just like, who decided Zack Snyder was going to be a guy to film our universe?
This is the problem: is that Marvel
with white
Kevin
penises,
Feige, and he actually knows what he's doing, and DC picks Zack Snyder, and he does not.
Well, I'm pretty sure Nolan picked him, right?
No.
Well, I'm just saying.
Christopher Nolan
I have a
was
story
in
about
the
that, but I can't say anything.
If you're comparing Snyder to Feige, you have one as a creative director, the other is a producer. So there's a whole you needed a good producer.
A lot of the decisions for the whole series, though, he was setting up. They told him, "We want the Marvel thing. We want this 80 billion different movies where every character gets their own series, and then we'll have the group series. And it's all going to be connected, and you're going to be the one that's going to be doing it all."
And he didn't want to do that.
Good.
That's the gag.
He said, "I'll do 5 movies. I have a 5-movie arc." And that's what everybody signed on for. Like, that's what Ben Affleck said. That's what, all these cast people signed on for was, okay, 5-movie arc. So Man of Steel, BVS, Justice League 1, Justice League 2, Man of Steel 2.
Warriors didn't hire a good showrunner.
A guy who's
didn't Cyborg going to get a standalone film as well?
But yes, he was initially going to have one.
They were going to all have standalone films, but that was later, but that had nothing. That was going to be outside of Snyder's.
They should have came first.
Directing.
Can I just say a moment about Booyah? And just the fact that Snyder was so opposed to Booyah, and Whedon was like, "Okay, yeah, fine, do a Booyah. Who the fuck cares?" Oh, sorry.
Oh,
sorry. Please
I've been drinking way more.
Sorry, Rob. Okay.
I drink half Snyder
Cut. But just the idea that Snyder was so opposed to this guy who is supposed to be a 20-year-old college kid saying booyah at some point when he gets to have a moment of victory.
It's not dark and gritty.
Well, to be fair, looking at Vic's character,
honestly,
why would he say it?
It's anti-fan is what I'll say. It's anti-fan.
What's up? Fan service is actually a negative connotation in Japanese culture, so there you go.
Connor.
Booyah is a negative.
I love Booyah. Booyah's great. But looking at Cyborg's character arc in the movie, his big moment is kind of that weird vision he's having of his parents, right, at the end. And if afterwards he's just like, Booyah, that'd be pretty weird. Like,
yeah.
I couldn't see them fitting it in. Maybe in his own movie.
There's lots of times he shoots his laser beam. That he could have said booyah. I may be so.
Oh, because he was so happy before then.
Yeah.
I mean, he sounded angry through the whole movie. I don't know if it's just the tone of voice the actor picked.
He's an angry black man. Didn't you guys catch that?
Yeah.
One note.
Please.
Yeah, I have to be the one to say
note.
He's depressed
It's a
because he's
choice
half a
the
robot.
director
Like,
Yeah, he's never gonna have like his normal human life back.
on his mum
Yes.
died too.
I'll trade him.
Yeah.
Me and mine want to be cyborgs
RoboCop
anyway.
2
We'll
did
trade
it
him.
better.
He had robot junk.
Well, if the
Polishing
movie
the
taught
junk,
us,
am I right?
if you have the robot junk, you can make the junk do what you want it to do. That's the
bigger,
whole point of
stronger.
robot junk. You know,
Wait,
I mean,
I have a question for Steve. Is there
I
any
can do this
DC
all
movie you
day.
like?
Yeah, the only redeeming quality that this movie had at all was Gal Gadot, and
Oh
I-
my god.
Did you watch it with the sound off?
I
I
can
don't
watch
blame
her
you,
read
yeah.
the phone book for 4 hours and be reasonably entertained, but I think they so underused her in this film. And again, is she the greatest actor? Is she Meryl Streep? No, but is she good enough to be a really good Wonder Woman? Yes. And so,
Yeah.
I think the first Wonder
She
Woman
handles the
movie
action,
proved it.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's always been the problem. Is you have to find an actor that can emote and you.
Everybody
buy, they
can't be
can do
Lucy
all the
Lawless.
physical stuff.
Just to
And
be
she's
fair.
lovely to watch. She's beautiful. She's
and she's
beautiful.
graceful in the way
Oh,
she
she-
walks. Yeah,
She is definitely a great pick to play Wonder Woman. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like we've all said, with the original Wonder Woman was fantastic, and Wonder Woman 84, right? But
Maybe they will give you the Jenkins cut because that basically was a working cut. That was not her vision.
Well-
It's messed up. It's sad.
well, if they,
Who was
it
the
depends on how
executive
long.
producer of 84?
It'll be a lot shorter, one. And maybe
20
we'll
minutes.
get to tell the story that she wanted to tell. That they told her she couldn't tell. So.
Well, I mean, with 84, I mean, I'm still confused how that script got greenlighted, where literally the bad guy is a concept.
A rock.
Greed is bad. Okay. Yeah.
It's the 80s.
Well-
Agreed.
It's DC and Warner Brothers.
and to be fair, I think this may be a business model for Warner's to do a bad version and then say, why don't you demand the good
Well,
version?
a little birdie told me we might actually get the Ayers cut of Suicide Squad.
Oh my
I would rather
God.
the Snyder Cut of Wonder Woman 84.
I would just say the air cut of Suicide Squad to me makes more sense because he had the cut ready to go. And then they said, we're going to re-edit it. So to me, that one makes more sense because it was done, like finished. Like, here it is, instead of spending $70 million to complete something.
Okay, I'm getting it now. I get what Charlie's saying. It's like, okay, so Warner's business model
Yeah.
was cool. We'll give you the first movie, and now, hey, demand the cut where before the suits effed it up.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
and
What
we'll
do we
make
always
it
say about
funny.
DC? The damn suits.
So, and I was just talking about this.
That's the point.
I was just talking about this because Dianne and I, we podcasted a promising young woman that was on Amazon for like $20.
Don't spoil
And
nothing.
every-
If you need to, I'll cut out because I want to watch it. I rented it for me and my wife.
It's
to watch.
amazing.
Oh no,
It's
no, I won't give
amazing.
anything away.
Okay,
I
okay.
won't give anything away. But I just it was $20, and a lot of our listeners were like, I don't want to pay $20 to see a movie at home, you know.
It's
and
$5
like,
now, Steve. $5.
It's $5.
I know, I
Yeah,
saw
it's
that.
$5. So, this is going to change the way that movies are made and released because we're not seeing movies in the theater, and I don't know if
I'm never
everyone's
going back, bro.
right? And so they've even shown where we're buying more comfortable furniture for our houses. We're buying bigger TVs, better sound systems, things like that. So we're going to start watching more stuff at home, and they're not going to get box
And we're
office
getting different.
much
We're
anymore.
now getting mini LEDs so you can get the true rich color. Like the game is changing on at home
So
entertainment.
they are not going to be able to charge box office prices anymore. They're going to have to do something to get double their money. So I kind of agree with what Charlie said in that we might start getting 2 movies out of 1.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many cuts of the freaking Superman 2 movie I have. I'm not even gonna lie. I think it's like 6.
I have
It's
as many as Blade
It's
Runner.
like 4.
I have 3.
I have them all.
It's the Lord of the Rings theory, where it's like, hey, we have the theatrical, and then we have like the extended cut, and then we have the super extended cut, and then we have the ultra.
And then everybody's dead.
And you can watch it streaming online, but in 4 months, the package DVD set comes out with all
Yeah.
of the special
And if you're a
outtakes.
true nerd, that's
Well-
your That's where they really get them.
Okay.
Yep. You gotta have to,
now we know where the Martian Manhunter was doing during the last couple of films. He was watching Lord of the Rings extended super duper cut.
Well, look at what Marnell's saying. Like with Marnell, my wife surprised us and took myself and the kids. We went and saw Raya and the Last Dragon in theaters and we were I was gonna do the Disney Plus thing and rent it at home because I know my kids and I know they'll like want to keep watching it. But like when looking at that, if you look on Disney Plus, it tells you right there. It says rent on Premier Access $30 or June 4th it'll be on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But your kids are gonna be like, Daddy, it's there.
You know, so I'm just like, okay, like I don't have a problem with that, but then I'm like, you're shooting yourself in the foot because you're already telling me when it's going to be on for free.
But they know kids.
Well, they're trying to be honest businessmen. I mean, I know that's
that
is a horrible thing in our modern universe, but they're just saying, look, if it's that important to you, you can buy it now, but we are going to give it to you for free because you've already given us so much money. We're happy to give it to you as a premium. It's just going to be a few months later. And that's literally their business model. They're like, hey, we got this idea. You want to see it right now? So, like, Black Widow, because I'm a Marvel fan, I'm going to buy it right now. Cruella de Vil, I just might buy it right now because I don't know. I'm a crazy nerd. But the fact of the matter is, Rihanna, my kids are a little older now, so maybe not. But I'm going to absolutely keep on paying to watch it once it becomes free. It's about the long game. Disney works the long game. Warner's works the short game.
But they can't do that going forward.
Well, they did increase their subscribership. Is it going to stay? We don't know. They did do it.
Well, yeah,
like 3 years ahead of schedule of what they were projecting for their subscribership.
Yeah, so. And the thing about long games is it doesn't matter. Like the long game is eventually everyone just has Disney Plus. It's just a gimme in your life that of course I have Disney Plus.
I don't know. That's
no. I know. Or HBO Max or whatever the streaming service. It's like Bitcoin. Bitcoin will be worthless in 20 years, but the idea that there may be a digital currency later, that is a thing. You know,
Netflix is where it's at and where it will always be.
Netflix is good. Have you seen Kim's Convenience? They canceled it, but it's still good.
Well, it's Netflix. Of course they canceled it. But it's there.
But the idea is that when you get to this idea of streaming platforms, Disney isn't, and I had this conversation earlier today about like whether or not the Snyder Cut earned its keep. It's like, it got people.
It earned its keep of publicity. I'll tell you that.
Exactly. It earned its keep as publicity, as an advertising campaign. Snyder Cut earned its keep, no doubt. But should that mean that Snyder should have the DC universe?
He doesn't want it. That's the point.
He doesn't want it, and quite frankly, I don't think it's a good idea.
Destroy the Snyderverse.
Exactly.
He doesn't need it.
He doesn't need it. He doesn't want it, and it's not a good idea.
And I don't want anybody else playing in that sandbox. So
let the Gunnerverse have its
Would you say?
And we'll see where we go from there.
Would you say it's too late now to like put all these films now to the past and reboot the whole thing from scratch again? Because they're doing another Superman film, aren't they? With a whole different, a new Superman. I think it's going to be.
That's never been confirmed, though. They've never actually had confirmation.
My thing is until they start filming, I'm just whatever.
Even then.
And then you've got the Batman that was filming in the UK. And so is that going to be in this universe?
No, they already said that it's separated. There's different worlds. We already have the multiverse.
That's to me, that's just an easy way out of saying, God, we made some really crap films. I know. Let's say it's in the multiverse, and that way we can carry on making other films. Yeah, it's the only. That's the way to do it, to explain crappy films. It's just like,
Well, I mean, they said they want to just make that standalone because, I mean, it's like they're going to make Aquaman 2. Aquaman made over $1 billion. They're going to make number 2. They're making Shazam 2. And Shazam was more of a standalone. So it's just one of those things like,
Black Adam.
Do I want a clean slate reboot? No, I don't. But they've already did a soft reboot starting with Aquaman.
Don't call it
of this universe.
And Flash.
Because you never had one to begin.
Yeah. Well, Michael Keaton's now stepped away from Flashpoint, isn't he?
He's no longer. Did you see the Snyder Cut?
No.
One for Flash. And now Michael Keaton saying, "Oh, I don't know."
Charlie's chopping at the bit, Philip. Give him 30
Oh,
seconds.
Yeah, he's voguing down there.
Everyone else did. All right, Charlie, go ahead.
Well, I'm being polite. I'm waiting for me to be called. I'm not trying to cause problems because I know that I'm a problem maker. But so here's what I'm going to say. The core of comics is things that happened in the past happened, but maybe not quite the way you remembered it. So we're going to talk about it a little differently in the next scene. And so you can bring it all back. You can bring the same actors or just acknowledge the last scene. And, oh, yes, remember when we fought the demon thing? Yes, of course, I absolutely remember. That was on the news. And then let's tell our story. So the idea is you don't have to throw out the baby with the bathwater. You just have to save the baby. You just have to say
Fantastic Four.
Exactly. You know, they can bring back the Fantastic Four from any of the versions and just say, yeah, no, that happened, but it sort of happened off screen. This was a thing. I was actually talking to a friend recently about Beverly Cleary. And the idea that Beverly Cleary established a not a multiverse, but a universe in her characters with Ramona and Sixth Grade Nothing and etc. And told these stories where characters existed off screen. So when you came back to that character and they were back on screen, you understood that everything that happened in the on-screen versions still happened, even if it didn't affect them. So essentially you established a universe with the idea that, oh yeah, stuff happens even if we don't see it. And part of that is that if I forget what I said expressly in the last film, it doesn't necessarily matter because we're telling a new film now. And we're going to fix it. We're going to fix it in post.
That's what DC do all the time with every other single film. There's like, what happened in the last one? Do you not rent it? Oh, yeah.
Well, no, but they don't reference it. That's the point. They don't reference it. They act like it didn't exist. Whereas Marvel acts like it exists, but says, I don't know what version you're talking about. Another example is the idea that the Peter Jackson King Kong and the real King Kong, that the real King Kong is based on the events of the Peter Jackson King Kong. And the idea that, oh, that's crazy, but makes perfect sense.
Which King? I know you're saying about the
original
Peter
King
Jackson,
Kong,
the 1930
the Peter
Kong.
No, the 19 whatever it was, King Kong by Peter.
Which
Jackson.
one? 1972 one or 1978?
2000s.
Yeah, what's the original?
No, the one with Peter Jackson.
Which original are you talking about?
You mean the one with
you know who that guy Peter Jackson is? He made the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but
he made a King Kong film.
Yeah, but that film in what film?
The original, the
original 1930 ones, because they take place in the same time period, and they make explicit reference that they can't get Fay Wray for the Peter Jackson film, directed by
Peter Jackson,
Jack Black.
Oh,
well, Jack Black, Jack within the universe.
I don't know.
There's a Jack Black King Kong that Fay Wray is not in, but there is a film that Fay Wray is in at the same time that is at least fan-theorily about the King Kong attack on New York City.
Have we just gone into the Capes and Lunatics version of the multiverse here? Or what?
Yes.
Well, this is the idea of that. So any future DC film...
Okay, can I get to the problem with this film? Okay, what kind of weapon... How is a weapon with 5 points on the end a trident?
Yeah. That makes me wonder if they just didn't edit, like, it's a Quindent.
They were trying to get some gum sponsorship. Don't judge them.
Like, I just wonder, like, like, when they were making it, they were like, oh, this looks cool, we'll use a Quindent, or something, like, we'll make it his mom's. And then they didn't change the dialogue.
DC does not respect its audiences and doesn't know they won't know that a trident means it only has 3 spires. So, I mean,
well, to be fair, Jason Momoa's Aquaman's kind of an idiot, so...
That's okay. That's okay.
I don't want to hate on this. Don't make me hate on an actor because of a script and the director. An actor is only supposed to say what's on the page and be told where to stand. They're not meant to do.
Talk about Aquaman.
Research.
Aquaman is really, really okay with polluting the sea because every time he drinks, he chucks the bottle into the ocean. He takes off his shirt, his pants,
air breathers way too long.
chucks him into the ocean.
To be
Glass
fair,
is
those
from-
are glass bottles,
Glass.
which recycle back
Sand.
into sand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally cool for the sea life.
yeah. Tell that to the octopus with a glass shard in his eye.
But it's also he doesn't
Poor
care
Apple.
as much. It's supposed
They
to
could
be
have had
like,
a rock in their eye,
he
too.
doesn't
But it's not going to play the drums again, is it?
No.
Okay, I'm going to be controversial, and I'm going to say that even though the epilogue was unnecessary, it was my favorite part of the movie because Batman finally told Joker to go F himself, and then Joker responds, "What do you mean? We're best friends." I'm like, "Yes, thank you."
Yeah.
Okay, can I just make a
He
point about that?
still laughs like a choking seagull.
Well, Joaquin Phoenix made it
So-
okay to not be able to do the iconic laugh, so you know. blame it on him.
Today I saw an image of Cesar Romero applying his own makeup to be the Joker. And I think that clearly in this, what's his name did the same thing and just
Jared Leto.
did his own makeup. You know, it just
Well, it's supposed to
Well,
look
Heath Ledger did it too. So
well, I know that
no, but it just the complete lack of care, lack of interest in the character, and
like.
I know that they had said that this
you
Joker
get a
at the
brush,
end-
Phil, is what you do. You get a proper brush
In a
and you apply your
it's
makeup.
apocalypse, baby.
Yeah, in a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah.
My whole bro. Is it
it
easy
was-
to find a brush in a post-apocalyptic world?
It's also
I'm just
his-
saying Caesar Romero did it better.
but he technically one, he's not supposed to be wearing makeup. But two, this Joker idea for this part was supposed to be an amalgamation and kind of reference other looking Jokers.
That's why they cut out "We Live in a Society." Like, bro, put it in the trailer. You're not putting it in the.
I was
movie.
gonna say, just like with the whole Aquaman thing, is like, you know, this Aquaman's a little bit different than what we saw in 2017.
He actually likes Ray. He doesn't come off as a racist a-hole. Yeah, cool.
He doesn't just, you know, pick up something and steal it for no reason. And
They did cut out my favorite scene, though. I love him sitting on the lasso. Like,
And objectifying Wonder Woman. Cool.
Yeah, but that's a total Joss Whedon.
But it was honest.
But you know what?
You
know
act
what's
like it's
interesting?
not honest.
What's interesting is there's scenes in the 2017 that were filmed by Zach that were based on notes given to him by the studio that he didn't include. So like the Jeff Johns and John Berg notes that he was being given while filming certain scenes, he filmed them. They're in the 2017, but because it wasn't in his initial version, he cut it out.
According to
like
marketing.
the dress like a bat, I dig it. That is clearly a Snyder scene, and even the
Batman speaks Icelandic because he's a badass.
and the part in 2017 where Aquaman's talking to Mir and he goes, "Are you all right?" and everything, like that was filmed by Zach, but is not in this as well.
No, but all the jokes Whedon wrote are in it, so there's that.
No, they're not.
Not all of them.
I guarantee you they are.
Charlie,
No, they're not.
I told you this.
They're
Charlie,
literally not.
I will say I've never
This
seen
film-
Zack Snyder write a joke about a funny Brit,
He
a
didn't write
fussy
it.
Brit worrying about tea.
There's other.
And maybe
Chris
someone
Terrio-
else wrote it, but I don't guarantee
Chris Terrio wrote the script. Like not,
Okay.
it's not a Zack Snyder
So,
written script.
Chris
That's called-
Terrio wrote the fussy Brit scene. Fair enough.
Okay,
Fair
Chris
enough.
Terrio. Like I said, this film is based off what Zach had when he left the studio. So, because he left, then Joss came in.
According to marketing.
You say that according to marketing, it's fact, bro.
It's like fact where everybody knows. It is known.
Like,
No,
well,
you
that's
only
like-
know what marketing tells you. That's
that's
the
marketing,
lesson of how to get
but-
ahead in advertising without really trying. But yes.
It's been 3 years, man, of like things coming out and being discussed.
Like I guess nobody else read all those leaks, but okay.
Yeah, I
Things
know.
aren't advertising, and let me tell you.
Lilith,
Ain't
I'm
It
here
Cool
with you.
News is certainly a great source to look for leaks.
And Charlie, you
I
referenced
wouldn't know.
looking
I
stuff
give
up on
those
CBR earlier, so we know you don't know how to look for news.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Burn.
Tyler, if you weren't married,
I accept the sick burn, and I will put on some SPF for it.
Look at that! You chased Lilith into an image.
She's puking up all that.
God, it's Gary Frank.
Oh yes, hey Connor, share us some thoughts.
On what? Gary Frank? Because I don't like Gary Frank. If that's what you want to hear about, but
no, I
don't think it is. Yeah.
So
well, I mean, we're not even talking about the Snyder Cut really. If you want to choose the part of the Snyder Cut to talk about, yeah, I'll share my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Hey, seeing Desaad was pretty cool. I really like him. I think it'd be really cool. Like they won't do it, and well, even if like the original plan went through, they wouldn't do it. But I would love to see people like Orion show up in the sequels and stuff. Because Darkseid, like he's not really a Justice League villain, like he is now. But you've got this huge, interesting mythology with Darkseid and the New Gods, and you turn it into a sort of all the heroes have to team up and stop Darkseid from getting the MacGuffin.
Are we still getting the New Gods movie supposedly?
I think so. I think I saw something about it the other day. But yeah, it's just I don't know, like the whole plot of this Justice League using Darkseid. I mean, he's just been the villain for Justice League so much recently. I'm sure there's so many better stories I could have drawn inspiration from, but
he's popular. People are familiar because Smallville did it. You know,
you got that scene with Luthor and Deathstroke. I mean, you could have built it in Justice Gang.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, I guess the whole thing is no one likes Luthor. Except a couple of people like Luthor, but not many people.
His mom.
Well, and nobody likes Jesse Eisenberg either. So
didn't like him.
Didn't he play a perfect Mark Zuckerberg for a reason? I'm just saying.
Do you know when they picked it? When they picked him to be Lex Luthor for Batman vs Superman, I was like, what? Out of all the actors, they had to pick him to play that character. And when they shaved his head and he was in this one, right, I still thought, God damn, I would have cut you out. Fools. Stop.
But straight up, they made an excellent choice of Deathstroke.
Well, it was,
ladies?
Yeah.
Zach's wife chose him, didn't she? I don't think Zach was entirely on board. But Zach's wife
That's
is
because
like...
Zach's not a D&D nerd.
Oh, okay, Big Bang Theory, nice.
Well, the guy who plays Deathstroke, he does an annual D&D game every week.
Yeah,
doesn't he?
They have a podcast.
Now, if he built a computer with this shirt off, I believe it that he wasn't just doing it for the views. Sorry, Henry.
But again, I mean,
I hate Henry Cavill. Don't mind me.
Hey, well, but I was going to say, yeah, Jesse Eisenberg, completely wrong pick for Lex Luthor. They should have spent the money, no matter how much it was, and they should have got
Bryan Cranston.
I was going to say Bryan Cranston for Lex Luthor. Boom.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Out of mothballs.
What?
Go get Gene Hackman out of mothballs.
But Michael Rosenbaum is not doing much nowadays.
He does not ever want to shave his head again. He said he's open to an animated series, but he will never play live action again.
I mean, they left it
That's
open.
tragic.
Like they teased that Eisenberg was Lex Luthor Jr. on a couple occasions,
and that's how I take it.
And I was going to say Manganiello's Deathstroke makes me sad because I really would like to see that.
So does
It's also crazy to me that nightmare scene at the end of the movie was completely all new footage.
I hated it. Why did you have to end the movie like that?
You don't actually have to watch it. That's the point. That's the epilogue. You could actually cut off the TV before that. That was just kind of like for his fans, for being patient, for getting that trending. Here's what I coulda, woulda, shoulda, coulda done. You know?
Okay.
I just would have preferred something different than the nightmare scene, because the Superman shot is repurposed footage, so that's reused. And then,
but let's remember, it's all Bruce's fault. He tore up the truce card. Damn it, Bruce!
Oh, don't badmouth Batman. You're making Ray cry.
He's the captain of life, Bat. He's right up there with Tony Stark.
He's not as bad as Spider-Man.
Batman.
You entered on all the they did all the hero shots in the epilogue, and I mean, what Lilith said makes sense. So if that's the reason, just sort of like a thank you to the fans at the end, because I remember watching that, and I was, I thought the movie was all right. For me, it was just a sort of standard beat up the. Everyone get together, beat them up, work together, and I'm like, okay, it ends on a note, they're all doing their heroic things, and then the teaser of Batman and the Joker having like a 5-minute conversation talking about like, ooh, do you remember Death in the Family? I do, and I'm just...
I like that because if you subscribe to the theory, why Joker killed Robin, because he made Harley Quinn miscarry, like, that just gives you more fuel for the fire. So, I don't know, like, I like the
All depends which Robin.
Lilith, you can headcanon anything if it's not. That's why. That is why.
Well, no,
those stories. That's why Martian Manhunter and John fell in love, because it's not. If it's not in the film, it's not.
I have facts to back it up. It's not actually headcanon. Thank you.
But I must say,
well, was it in the film?
But Ayer and Snyder,
two friggin' baby onesies. Like, come on.
Ayer and Snyder both come out and talked about their story that they were going to include. They've come out and said like how the death of Robin plays into stuff. That was Batman's breaking point, and they've come out and talked about that.
He's in that spiral. Yeah.
It all depends which Robin is dead. Tread lightly, Snyder.
Well, I mean,
Tim,
it's been teased.
Dick Grayson do what they want.
It's been teased that it was Dick Grayson, and it's been teased that it was Jason Todd. Because at one point,
makes more sense because he's the only one that would kick a pregnant woman in the stomach. Let's just be real about Jason.
Which is the reality of the problem. There is no continuity.
Because
they
it was all
change it as they need to.
Well, it all comes back to as soon as when they decided they were going to change BVS, they changed the Ayer cut, which had more stuff in it that tied things together, and then they changed this. So the stories that they are planning to tell gets changed. And I'm not saying that's whatever. I'm saying like there was an idea. There was a more like this is the history of what's going on.
There's still scripts out there that you can.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like even the idea was eventually abandoned by the people who came up with the idea. Just as every writer abandons an idea when they realize it doesn't work.
Well, those people got fired and left the project. So like he made Suicide Squad, and then because like so rewatching Suicide Squad, they cut stuff.
Don't do it. I don't recommend it.
Oh, because it's so fun to watch and dissect the bad editing and the pacing, and to look at it like how you can tell.
Cut.
Like it's just this choppy. Like the first half is this montage, and then when you get to the middle, it becomes a completely different movie. The tone is all over the place, so it's fun to look at it from like a reverse engineering point.
So,
but all the scenes that showed the Joker for being like the evil person he was to Harley are gone. Because like when the car if you watch, when the car is going over and Batman's following them, the Joker's not in the car anymore. Harley's the only one in the car when it goes over. Like there's the scene where he ejects himself out is gone. And the same thing with the scene where he pushes her out of the helicopter. They make it look like he pushed her to save her in the movie, but in the actual shooting script and what was done, because they took out the whole subplot about Harley in that movie.
You can't show the Joker being a bad person.
So, like, all these story elements...
The middle school tweens look up to and not buy Hot Topic merch.
So, all these story elements...
This is maybe the argument that DC... And again, it goes to the idea that, Phil and I talked about earlier on Superconnectivity, just plug my own show, about the importance of a producer. And I think actually Maz and I talk about it on Full Stream Ahead to add enough said to plug my other shows, that a producer is an artist whose medium is other artists. And Marvel has a producer. And DC hires a director but doesn't really have a producer.
Well, and a producer overarching.
Everybody's a maniac over there. That's the problem.
Well, exactly. That's the problem when you hire a director.
I've said that for years. I know that from personal experience. Yes,
a director is a person who directs their scene, their movie, whatever they're dealing with. They're working on that as a microcosm alone. Maybe they'll talk to other people, but that other director will direct their microcosm alone. They don't have a Jim Shooter. They don't have an executive producer. They don't have a
showrunner.
Yeah, they don't have a showrunner for this. They need someone to just say, this is what you do, this is what you can do, this is what you can't do.
Well, there was gonna be a person, but he told you, "Ooh, I should." Y'all know David Goyer, right? He was actually gonna be the guy.
Oh, I thought it was supposed to be Jeff Johns. I actually thought Jeff Johns.
No, Jeff Johns tried it with the TV stuff and some other stuff, but like he is just not fit to like lead on that level. I'm saying that.
But they need someone that can lead on that level. That's the point. Is they need a CCO. They need a chief creative officer who's going to say, okay, here's what we do in the DC universe, and this is how we're going to integrate.
Everything should be standalone. It doesn't need to be a connected universe. There, I said it.
No, it does, because as I said, Ramona and Beezus tells us that we need to have everything fit together.
Universe. It doesn't. I don't care about
in this environment. It does. Well, if you're looking at that old fashioned 20th
and look how much money that made. I'm just saying, not everybody wants to be spending 10 years of their life chasing Marvel movies. No offense.
You're looking at that old 20th century universe of the movie.
No offense.
We're gonna go to the picture show and see a film. No, it's all about the social experience now, and for that you do need someone in charge to direct that social experience. I'm sorry.
You'll see the backlash.
I know you're an old person, Lilith, but I'm older, and so I've come around the lap.
I was just
I'm watching trends. Y'all chasing Marvel movies.
Diane. I will say, as someone who is not deeply steeped in either comic book universe, but is more steeped in Marvel, it's nice to have everything be connected and have some continuity. I'm old, man. It's nice to have some continuity.
I like continuity.
Continuity is everything.
DC fans don't feel that way.
I like continuity. I get mad when every spin-off series from Flash, Batwoman, Legend, if you look at their pilots, does not match up with how they were in the series, how they were introduced into the series. There is miscontinuity in those shows.
That's what I mean. It shouldn't be. Like, just
and it bothers me. It bothers
the continuity in Star Trek absolutely drives me insane.
Please don't start. That's a whole podcast episode.
Wait, I
don't know.
Confused.
Especially if you've watched the original series more than 7 times. Just
hold on. Miscontinuity, a movie with Sandra Bullock.
That was miscongeniality.
Can I also say about that David Goyer being in charge? I was just looking at his IMDb, and he wrote Terminator: Dark Fate. Well, he can
like everything you need to know, and he
chuck
also
himself
wrote
off a mountain for that.
He also wrote The Crow, City of Angels.
James Cameron gets blamed for Dark Fate as well.
What's his indie credits? This is what I'll say.
He also directed Blade Trinity. Let's say that.
There's your proof. He shouldn't have put it.
It says here, according to this, his next 3 films are Hellraiser, Masters of the Universe, Foundation, of course, and Sandman.
Okay, so
every faith in Masters
of
the Universe. Not
good to have the heads up. Here's what I'll say.
I have a quick question, Charlie, and then go. But the new Sandman?
It says the Sandman TV series.
No, I don't want someone to jack that up. This is Sandman is incredibly important.
I'm sure it's Golden Age Sandman where he fights, criminals. So
it's based off of the game and stuff. It's not. Yeah.
It's based off. It's based off. It's actually it's got a cast. It's got a full cast on it. I'm just looking now.
I'm just going to say, DC has such rich Golden Age history.
Is that
why don't they go back to the Golden Age more?
It says 11 episodes TV series from 2021.
Charlie, why don't they go back to the
Please just shoot me in the head.
Stargirl's killing it, so...
Well, they're doing that with Black Adam as well, so...
There's actually 2 Sandmans on IMDb, one for 20 and one for 2021.
Yeah.
The 21 is the one that's based on Gaiman.
I was going to say, isn't the other one like the audio drama?
Sorry, totally sidelining us. I apologize.
No, but what I'm going to say is, if you start with the Golden Age stuff, like Shazam, like Stargirl, and you build out a Golden Age universe, you're going to build a really fun place for superheroes to exist. If you try to jam superheroes in the last half of the first half of the 21st century, it doesn't seem real. Because obviously science has existed before this. So that's why it's important to go back to the 40s to say, hey, that's when we got that science thing working, and that's when superheroes came about, and that's when aliens started falling on our planet. And hey, maybe there were a few that fell back in ancient medieval times too. Why not? And that gives you a continuity of a universe. But if you just say, oh, just now, 2000 and whatever years later, we just figured out that there are superheroes.
Burn it to the ground. Let it eat itself. Let it be the Ouroboros. I'm done with DC. There's no hope for them.
I mean, I'm just saying DC Wonder Woman, has so much great stuff. Exactly. And that's why the original Wonder Woman was perfect. Not perfect. Not perfect.
Let's not get carried away.
It was acceptable.
You know what reminds me of? Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 1984 kind of remind me of like Batman and Batman Returns, where you have the first film a little bit more combination of producer and director, and then the second film is more like director driven, because 84 is more of what she wanted her Wonder Woman to be, and original Wonder Woman was more of still like how the Snyderized Wonder Woman was done. And I think that Wonder Woman was kind of like that nice blend of two creative forces together, but we've yet to be able to get that again.
Yeah. And it's overvaluing the director over the producer. Because nobody respects the art of the producer, and that is what it comes down to. Well, just like no one respects Stan Lee, no one respects Jim Shooter, no one respects how much work it is to keep all the ducks in a row.
Yeah, it's work, but a lot of them are still soulless hucksters, you know.
But that's sometimes what you need, to say they're a soulless huckster isn't
I'd rather
bad
a good movie than continuity's it's important, but I don't know, these big connected universes, there's nothing more annoying to me when I watch a movie and there's just all these teasers and threads to all these other movies. It's like, oh, go watch these too. Give us your money. It's like, I just want to watch a movie, have it just be its own thing, and if it ties into other stuff, that's fine, but don't slap an add-on at the end of it, or an add-on in the middle of the
you don't put an add-on unless you have a producer.
I don't think
unless you have someone who's building something.
100%.
You don't put the add-on.
Care about continuity if it was a good movie.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Story, get everything. Everyone would be like, "Oh, okay, it doesn't fit in, but so what? It was a great movie."
It's joking. That's the thing. You want it all to fit together in a long-term story, if that's what the producer wants. What a producer does is he doesn't take a guy who just says, I want to do a one-and-done movie. I got this idea for this character. That's all I'm doing. You don't put him in charge of your story that is going to build a universe. Because, we're building something here, Things may be an esoteric concept, but, architecture is an esoteric concept. You can't walk through the Empire State Building, It's a concept, but it also has a reality, and we're trying to build something bigger than the concept. That's
There's
all I'm
no
saying.
hope for DC. End of discussion, and I'm okay with that.
Do you think that because Zack Snyder's had that chance now to make this extended cut, that it's going to open the floodgates to maybe other films now having the money put it back into them? And
you know what?
I hope to God Suicide Squad doesn't come out, because I'd have to gouge my eyes out with a rusty spoon to watch that film again. And can I just say, and it pains me to say that the Suicide Squad won an Oscar. Out of all the films, it won an Oscar.
Stuff, right?
For makeup.
Yeah,
but you compare that to Star Trek Beyond, which I think had much better makeup.
Yeah, boot them right now.
Yeah. I mean, this Suicide Squad was going to be different than the other one. I mean,
hey, Star Trek Beyond is actually the only good new one. So
what?
That's not saying much, baby doll.
I'm if you like the Abrams Star Trek, I don't even know where to start.
No.
I hate the Kelvin timeline. I hate it.
God damn it! I want that erased from my mind. What am I gone? Them in Discovery, gone. Just get them out.
Well, Discovery in the future. Let's see what they do.
Yeah.
I'm interested in that.
No, don't want it. No. But the thing is, with if they give Suicide Squad an Oscar for makeup, that means every single Power Ranger TV series should also get an Oscar.
As an MMPR fan,
to be fair, Rick Baker has lots of Oscars because he's good at what he does. And regardless of whether or not you like the films that Rick Baker works on,
Rick Baker didn't do Suicide Squad. Rick Baker's retired.
Yeah, he's retired.
He came out of retirement.
No. What I'm saying is that that's an art. What a special effects artist does. So whether he's working on the clumps or something else, it's still an art form.
Gotcha.
So I don't think it's proper to degrade that art form because they did what they were supposed to do. They made the fat jiggle. They made the monster be ugly.
I didn't like
people don't go out to make bad films. It's just that they make bad films.
It's not my
what I'm saying is don't fault the guy who made the rubber mask for the bad film. It was a great rubber mask. If the director didn't know what he was doing, or the writer didn't know what he's doing, don't blame the creator of the rubber mask.
Yeah, but we're saying that the makeup wasn't as good as the other nominees. We're not saying that it didn't deserve it because it was a bad movie. We're just saying, like, the makeup was fine, but it wasn't, Oscar worthy.
I'm sorry, Killer Croc looked amazing.
Yeah.
Do you think they got the makeup for Harley Quinn?
It's okay, guys.
They didn't get the makeup for Harley Quinn. They got the makeup Oscar for Killer Croc for the character they created that was really
I guess Killer Shark will be winning an Oscar for that one too, then.
I would have CGI'd that guy because they CGI'd everything else. So why stop?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, the makeup and then people exploding, the mushroom people. That's all work. I mean, don't short it. Don't short. That's all I'm saying. So, technical Oscars are real Oscars. That's all I'm saying.
None of us were saying that they weren't.
Yeah, I'm just saying it won an Oscar, out of all the films. But what I'm saying is, say we had, as a collective, we had 70 million to put into a movie in the DC universe. Let's go around the table. Yeah, what would the film be? What would the film be?
Ambush.
Now, which film would you pick?
It would be Ambush Bug the movie.
Do it in an orderly fashion so everybody gets a chance.
Right. Starting with you, Dan.
I would say Wonder Woman 1984 because Gal Gadot deserved a good sequel.
Mm-hmm. Steve?
I would probably kind of piggyback a little on what Charlie said and do like a 1950s set Justice League movie with the Golden Age characters from back then and really draw on the history of DC.
It's funny you should say that because DC are releasing an animated version called Justice Society World War II, which is the Golden Age, isn't it?
Here, but that's just me.
How about Marnell?
Robin. I think we need to explore the Robin verse Dick Grayson.
Also, a brand new film, not a recut.
Yep. Oh, she's got Kristen's heart. Heart.
Not my heart.
Hey, you want to say hi?
I am so done with remakes and reboots and sequels.
Yeah.
And I think Dick Grayson deserves, a good start.
I love you.
Lilith, what about you?
Green Lantern. I'd redo Green Lantern and turn it into the Flash movie that it was supposed to be with Ryan Reynolds as Barry Allen. There, I said it. And that's where we start our universe.
Where'd you get that one from? Is that
That's
hilarious.
The Green Lantern 2011 movie was supposed to actually be a Flash movie starring Ryan Reynolds as Barry Allen. And then they were like, no, let's do Wally West instead. And they actually took that script and turned it into the Flash TV show. It's a whole thing. But yeah, I would actually make that movie that they wrote. Or Green Arrow Escape from Supermax.
All right. Phil?
I think Marnell summed it up for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Tyler?
Well, I'm confused because originally I thought the question was which we take the 70 million and like put into, and then everyone's like pitching new movies.
Oh, the films. Yeah.
So I'm like, is it improving a movie?
I would say improve in a movie. Yeah.
So Diane had it right, and then everyone else like switched to like a new movie. So I'm like, I'm gonna split the difference.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say new movie wise, I want a really good Superman movie, like a standalone Superman movie, because I'm not like real short. You had Superman Returns, and then you had the antithesis, which was Man of Steel, and those two movies exist in this weird relationship of what everyone complained about over here, they did over here. Then we complained about that too. So we need a really good standalone Superman film. I say that because I have a whole room full of crap. Now, if I was going to improve a movie that had already been done, I would take it and I would take more money, and I would really think that I would flesh out this storyline of BVS, because I think you could really take that movie, split it into two movies, and do one where it ends with the Superman-Batman conflict, and they come out of it as a new understanding, and then take that last act and build into a third movie with Wonder Woman where it's the Trinity, and it's like a Trinity film. I really think that you could have done a better story in that world and made that story into two different movies, and then had that Trinity film where you do the death and start to explore that.
Okay.
So don't push everything into one movie.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I had like
Spider-Man problem.
if I had 70 mil, that's where I would go with what's already been existed. If I was starting something new, I want my decent Superman movie.
Okay.
Like I want
Because he should be the foundation of the universe.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but if it has to be a remake, I would Batman and Robin, because I love Chris O'Donnell, but he did Dick Grayson dirty.
I would love to. I would love to see a new Batman and Robin film with.
Yeah.
But we like,
and that kicks us off into the Robin universe.
Charlie, what about you?
Well, I mean,
I've got you on
I'm
timer.
going to agree with Tyler. I would absolutely love a better BVS film. I would love one that explored why Batman is so mad at Superman more. Although I don't think that Batman just being mad at Superman is a problem, because you make him a xenophobe. That's fine. But I would love to have seen something that really reflected the characters more and gave them all more room to breathe. Because my real second thing is I would love to see Wonder Woman 1984 integrated into the idea. And really, like I said, I guarantee you Patty Jenkins with $70 million and an extra 2 hours will make that film sing. And it's going to be beautiful. And so, yeah, I mean, I think at the core of DC's problem is they want what Marvel has, but they don't want to do it. They don't want to either do the work or embrace what they have. Because the real embracement of what they have is, what if the Justice League is a thing? And so you start off with a Justice League film where the Justice League is just a thing.
Okay.
From the Justice Society up to the Justice League, whichever crisis it is, that's what you have. And then you spread out and do your alternate stories. Or you build a dark universe off of the villains. Because I really think that is their strength, is you do, what's the Joker movie? What's the Lex movie? What's the Slade movie? Because I guess kids like Slade today.
Right, the Man of Steel himself, Connor. Go on then.
Oh, thank you. So I don't know, as to like improving the movies or anything, I think the DC movies I've liked, I don't think money would make them better, and the DC movies I don't like, I don't think money would fix any problems. But as for a new movie, I don't think 70 mil's enough for a Superman movie these days, unfortunately. Because
Shazam was 90, so that gives you an idea.
I would do like a Luthor movie, kind of in the vein of Joker, maybe dealing with his sort of twisted obsession with Superman, maybe even like a political thriller. I think that'd be pretty cool. So, yeah.
That would be cool. And Disney is big on giving the villains their own sympathetic backstory.
Yeah, I often find the thing is with most films at the moment, in this day and age, is that you have your main villain in one film, and then all of a sudden the villain becomes a good guy. If you take like the Fast and the Furious, franchise, Jason Statham was a bad guy, and now he's a good guy. You know what I mean? And
the villain is the hero of his own piece.
Well, yeah, but when you watch Venom, the next Venom film, well, isn't he the good guy now in his own film? And it's like, is he going to be a bad guy in somebody else's film? And it's like, oh God, what was the one? There was one more. Oh, I've lost it. Look at that, it's gone straight out. But hold on, what I would pick is 1984 to be redone, because that was a fire. 100%. I didn't like it. And I would definitely go with Tyler's idea of for the Batman, as well as and Batman versus Superman being spread into 3 films. But I also like the concept that I like the golden age. I like that 1940s, 1950s look with superheroes. That's why I love the the Rocketeer, the Shadow. You know what I mean? All them kind of, imagine that if they managed to bring the Shadow into a Wonder Woman film, because I know in the comic book world, the Shadow has been in many different other comic book stories with other superheroes. So imagine going back. That's where I think Wonder Woman 1984 should have gone. It should have been 1984. It should have been like 1934 or something.
We needed more Etta. I'm just saying. That relationship between her and Etta, we were wrong.
Without a doubt, Etta was the heart of that film that they just...
Oh, we never talked about that whole Etta Candy and them discovering the mother box was basically a retcon that didn't happen. Like, just throwing that out there.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
That's a special on the Wonder Woman Blu-ray. Is there's a little short with Etta and all the other guys talking about they found the mother box, which was supposed to be a lead-in to Justice League.
Wait,
why didn't Snyder include that
from Wonder Woman?
I don't remember.
Say that again, Tyler. How did they find the boxes?
There's a scene if you watch the Blu-ray of Wonder Woman. There's like a bonus scene where Etta's sitting there with a file, and they're going basically they discover this and they're going to get the mother box, and it's Etta and then all the other members.
What the mother box is?
And this is exactly
because this was an addition. This was filmed after Wonder Woman, and it was filmed when they'd already decided to change Justice League. So it was added in as something to help pump up their new. Which I always liked the idea that Ed and her team kind of found it, but whatever.
Yeah, and this is where we get the steel bikini Amazons from Snyder, because that is a Snyder thing from his original ideas. Because
can't argue with that.
Yeah, I mean exactly. He cuts that out because it's the Nazis who discover the mother box, not the Allies, or even the Allies discover it and then make a decision about what to do with it. He cuts.
It's always the Nazis, to be fair.
Yeah, like they discovered the Tesseract.
Yeah,
fair enough. Yeah, well, I didn't want to go into the copying Marvel again, but
I actually thought in any movie, like Indiana Jones, it's always the Nazis.
Yeah,
I mean, the Nazis discovered Hellboy
versus Marvel.
No,
watch a real movie, damn it.
It shows the problems that Snyder has in the same, and it's the same problem that probably Whedon has now too.
I actually thought, that
a desire to move those characters that aren't the objectivist heroes to the back.
Did no one else get the vibe that that scene with the Nazis finding the mother box was literally from the first Wonder Woman film, the same village that she rescued everyone? I would have thought if they managed to tie that in, that would have been great.
Yeah, if it had just been like
the
German soldiers and not the Nazis.
Brain.
Yeah. All right. I'm cutting it here before this goes as long as the movie. I'm cutting it here.
Capes and Lunatics, the Snyder Cut.
All right.
No, you have to promise that there's a longer version that you're going to release later on HBO.
No, it's going to be a shorter version on the Patreon.
It's going to have 2 hours of Steve doing a commentary on it.
That'll be the epilogue.
I threw up.
For the fans.
All
okay,
right.
Phil, let's do ratings.
Yes. Dianne, rating.
Okay, first I'm going to say that it was a complete waste of, and tell me if I'm saying his name wrong, Jamie, Kieran Hines and Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons.
But the other actor, Karen
Syria, I
Hines.
always thought.
Karen Hines.
He was in
Who was that?
He was in
Syria.
Persuasion,
Chirons?
which was
I've heard of,
which
like,
was a Jane
Chiron.
Austen film. No.
Kieran.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Kieran.
I've heard
yeah,
it
not a
different
Brit.
ways. So.
Okay, so my rating is a 1 out of 5 hours of my life I will never get back.
Oh my! All right, Steven.
Wait. Could I ask one question? Is this rating it as its own, or rating it as in like it's better than what we got?
No, as its own for me.
Okay.
As its own. Yeah.
All right, Steve. How many puke buckets out of 5 do you give it?
Well, I would give it 0 out of whatever number you want. I love all these characters, or a lot of these characters. I just don't like what they did with them, and as Dianne said, it's 4 hours of my life that I'll never have to do anything else with. So yeah, sorry.
Rose?
Okay, Marnell. Great rating, and how much of that fishbowl is left?
Wow.
I got a ways
I
to
finished
go.
2 bottles already, lady.
This is straight liquor.
I'm doing my damnedest to catch up with you two, and I'm not doing a good job.
This is liquor, Swedish fish, and nerds. Like, it's liquor with sugar.
All the ice is melted now.
What kind of liquor? There's lots of kinds of liquor, so
There's
Hey, that's my wife, sir. Mind your business.
I'm just saying. And there's liqueur and there's liqueur. So there's liquor and then there's liqueur. If it's a liqueur, it's not really liquor, unless it's a Yukon Jack.
It's hypnotic, so it's like cognac.
Oh, that's a good liquor. That's a real liquor. So
Yeah,
proud of you,
it's a real
sweetheart.
liquor.
Proud of you.
2.9, so not quite a C. Obnoxiously tall people. I didn't
tall people.
hate it. What's that?
Oh, tall people
Compared to her.
Yeah,
She's
She's
tall
like
people.
4'11". She's like,
yeah.
So you're saying tall people got a problem with?
There is literally a song called "Short People Have No Reason to Live."
I mean,
She's gonna
tall
put
people
you
got a
in the
problem?
solar plexus, dude. Watch out.
Tyler, baking cookies in a tree. Leave her alone.
look, Marnell is danger
He's like,
in a small
fuck.
package, okay?
Yeah, like
She's dynamite.
I
Yeah,
am.
don't mess with it.
All right, Lil's Hellfire.
I'm gonna give it a 1. Out of 10.
Wow.
It's still better than the Justice League, and there's some things that I like and I can appreciate from an artistic standpoint. But this movie has no business being 4 hours long, and it's just overly self-indulgent with the slow-mo shots. Come on, bro. You could have done better CGI instead of doing the slow-mo shots.
Okay.
All right, I will be very generous and give it a 3 out of 10.
That's my Phil.
Wow.
And
He's such a
Wow,
boy.
that's not even a dude. That is still a D in America, you know.
Phil the Peacemaker.
Oh, I'm giving this movie the D. Yeah.
I mean, really, that's an F in America, but yeah, you know.
F, D, whatever.
I just like how there's like a scale for each person. Like it's like I'm giving out of 5, I'm giving out of 5, but I'm gonna have like 10. I'm
I
like,
need to exaggerate how bad it is. A 1
there's
out
no
of 10.
consistent like anything.
We're exaggerating the size of it. Yeah, I mean, again, I saw the green screen, and the story didn't impress me too much. Again, I don't like Ezra Miller or Jason Momoa, so yeah, I was sitting there looking at my watch the whole time.
Look, Jason
right.
is an awesome dude. I got a funny story I'll share another time about Jason. But
Thank you, Steve. All right, Tyler. I know this is gonna be a good one.
So I'm gonna like shorten my scale. You know, I'm gonna put it out of a 5.
Your order.
I take a lot of things in consideration. I mean, yeah, I would give it like a 3.5 to a 4 out of 5.
Mine was a 2.9 out of 5 also.
I just
Yeah,
try
we're
to,
on fives. We're all out of
like,
fives.
there's problems in it. Like I said before, like, I would love to see a shortened, more like theatrical ready version of this for pacing. There's missteps in it. But for, not comparing it to what we had before, I feel like there's a lot of good in here you could mine out. I feel like, much like you guys were saying earlier, like, there's so much character setup in this for what's going to come after, instead of being like the reverse where we have characters that pour into this. This is more like, oh, so here's this person, here's this going on, we'll tell their story over here. And that's what happens with Flash and Aquaman specifically. Instead of being like, like with what the MCU did, we're like, here's their story. Now we're going to pull all their stories together. This is like the branch out. Yeah. You know, and the thing is, I'll watch it and I'll enjoy parts of it. There's things like I wish it done differently. Do I particularly like the whole nightmare thing? No, I don't. I don't like the whole, we're going to do different, like this fearful timeline that, you know, where Superman goes evil and all this. I'm like, the Superman evil to me is played out. I'm not a huge Frank Miller fan as far as the Dark Knight Returns. So I can appreciate, like, that's where he's drawing influence from. But it's not my thing. No. I'm just like, but there's things in here that I really like and enjoy. The 4 hours is for the average person, or just even like if you're not plugged into everything, it's inflated. I enjoyed it just because I've been following the story. Like I said the other day, like 2014 is when they announced Ezra Miller's Flash. The day after the Flash premiered on the CW, they told us, hey, here's going to be our movie Flash. He's going to be in Justice League. He's going to appear in EBS. 7 years later. You know what I'm saying? So I've been following this for that much. I mean, my children weren't born when this was like first starting, you know, like, so I have a lot of positivity from it, but I can respect what you're saying about where you're coming at it from. It's not for everybody. I mean, comic book films in general are harder to make because they should have you want to do it justice, you want to do an art form, but at the same time, there should be a general audience idea behind making a comic book based movie. For your Elseworld stuff, that's why we have the books, the TV series, shows. Those are where you can kind of get a little bit more of these smaller, but for a general audience, something film wise, there should be a sense of come all to this. So it's like, it's not what I exactly want or would want for my Justice League film. There's a lot of good into it. And I'm just going to look on the positive. Like, I have this now. It's better than what I got. And, you know, I just see what the future holds for more characters, more movies. So, okay. Yeah.
All right, Jamie.
I can ramble.
I'm going to give this 4 Joker Seagull laughs out of 5. Yeah, whatever. But I'm in agreement with Tyler. Is this the film that? Is this the film that I wanted? Nah, not at all. Is it the film that I really enjoyed? Yeah, I did. I know I can understand with a lot of its faults, you know what I mean? But you've got to agree there is some really good moments in this film. The opening scene is, for one, it made me wish that we had another Man of Steel film. You know what I mean? It made me wish we had a better I was going to say Supergirl then. Wonder Woman film. You know, it made me wish we had a better Batman film. It made me wish we had better. But the scenes that were in this film that I enjoyed, that I remember, are some of the best scenes. And also, you got to remember that this, you know, he also dedicated this film, you know, to his daughter that, you know, committed suicide. And there is little points in this film that, you know, pull out the aspects, you know, like the billboard with the suicide awareness thing. Yeah, you know, you have to admit that there's a lot on it. Everyone's waving about, yeah. But you know, I enjoyed it. Yeah, there was bits of it I didn't like. I didn't like the dream section. I really didn't. I actually prefer the dream section from the previous version, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I liked it. You know, if it came out on Blu-ray, yeah, I'll probably buy it just so I've got it in my collection. You know, when Wonder Woman comes out, I'll probably buy that. I won't play it, but I'll probably buy it. $5. Yeah, like I did with Ghostbusters 2016. I waited until it was £1 from the pound shop. I mean, and then I was like, I wonder if I could get it on a 50p sale. I mean, but you know, it's a good film. I enjoyed it. Yeah, it could be cut down to 2 hours quite easily. But, you know, it's the last one we're going to get, really, from this universe, because they're just going to reboot the whole thing. And we've just got to look forward to to what we're going to get next. There you go.
Connor?
Yeah, I'll give it like a 3 out of 5. I just yeah, I don't know. For me, I'm a bit confused, like, because how there was some like weird stuff. Sure, like the excessive Amazon slow mo and like the vocals every time Wonder Woman took a step somewhere, but it was just like it was just a movie where it was just a really classic kind of superhero team up story. You know, it was just another Justice League sort of story for me, with some of that nightmare stuff I didn't like, but even that wasn't in the movie that much until the ending. So yeah, for me it was just fun. I just enjoyed seeing, I really enjoyed seeing more Cyborg. I thought he was really great, and I just sort of enjoyed most of the movie. I don't have these like weird complicated feelings about it. It's just so interesting looking at everyone just going nuts over this movie one way or the other. I prefer the first two in the trilogy, I guess. But yeah, it's just fine.
It'll do, pig.
Yeah, it'll do. I still want Man of Steel too. That's all I care about. So yeah.
All right, God help us all, Charlie Esser.
So I'm going to give this. So I actually liked this film. I really did. And I wanted to like this film, and I did like this film. But what I will say is I'm going to grade it as an economist and say I was given 4 hours. 2.5 of those hours were fantastic. 2.5 of those hours, or 1.5 of those hours, were really wasted. So, and then if you go back to other things to do the cost comparison, is this better than the Justice Cut? I don't know, because the Justice Cut took less of my time. So it's like, okay, that took this much of my time. It's a middling film for the time I spent on it, as was the previous one for the time I spent on it. It's a good film for the time I spent on it, because the other one was a good film for the time I spent on it, because it's not overwhelmingly great. Like I said, the best thing about this is the establishment of Martha Manhunter as Kal-El's real mother. That is, to me, the most interesting aspect of this entire film, and I am down for that fan theory. I'm down for that idea, and until you give me an image of Martha and Manhunter together, that is canon, because we don't see it any other time. So I'm cool with it, and it makes sense to me in my head. So overall, like I said, it's an okay film. If you like the first one, you'll like the second one. If you didn't like the first one, you might like the second one a little bit better, maybe even a lot bit better, because there's more stuff.
Give me a number, man.
I told you 2 out of 4. It's 4 hours. 2 of them were really good. 2.5 were really good. Okay, I mean that's the whole thing.
The rating system sideways.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ratings.
I mean, if you wanted to give me an out of 10, I'd say it's probably a 5, maybe 5.5 out of 10, because it's right in the middle. It's like it's good enough for a re-release that I don't have to pay for, because I'm already paying for it. It's like, would I go out and buy it? No, I'd never buy this in my life. It's an overblown, racist, sexist nonsense bit, and it's kind of annoying in its larger context.
Charlie, but, yeah. Do you know now you say that you think that Martha is the Martian Manhunter because you didn't see on both at the same time at the same screen. Is that also, could you say that Martian Manhunter is Clark Kent because you don't see Clark Kent
don't see
with the Martian Manhunter
into Clark Kent. That's the thing. Is Martian Manhunter turns into Martha. Or to be more specific, Martha turns into Martian Manhunter, and then to.
But we did see the Martian Manhunter as Superman. He was the one that had the moustache that was CGI taken away. That's why.
Well, no, but that's not canonical. See, now you're just being silly. Now you're just being silly with the whole thing.
I'm talking headcanon here.
No, I'm talking headcanon based on what we see in the film.
Okay,
what we see in the film is that Martha is Martian Manhunter, and nothing in the film takes away from that.
before I stick my head in a cannon, all right, let's not here. Dianne, where can people find you and Marnell?
You can find us mostly on Facebook at Biters or The Real Housewives of Alaska. Real Housewives does have a Twitter. Apparently, we now have websites thanks to Rob Southgate, and I'm a slacker. We would love to hear from you, and especially because we're trying to really get some more following for Real Housewives, and we're having a ton of fun with that. So,
and we can swear on that podcast.
Oh, yeah. We get very sweary.
Get swearing. We don't. I know.
If you want a taste, we also have a Patreon. You can
Get to that. All right, Steve, where can people find Aim for the Head?
On Facebook, you go to Aim for the Head, and that has connections to all of our social media stuff. Yeah, that's the best way to see what we have going on.
And there's crossover between Aim for the Head and Biters, which is great fun. So
yes, there are.
It's a shared universe.
Yeah, like they talk about. All right, Jamie.
It's the fans in the seats.
Well, you can head over to Radio Free Endor on Twitter and then on Facebook, and Ghost Heads UK podcast on Facebook and Twitter. Just stick a gmail.com on the end of those two and you'll find us if you want to email us. There you go.
All right. And Connor, I hear you do an Iron Fist podcast and a Superman podcast with some slacker. Where can the people find those?
Yeah, Carl.
Oh, no, that's Ray, but okay.
Yeah, no, Ray as well, but Carl was the first slacker, I guess. But Sons of the Dragon, the Immortal Iron Fist podcast. If you just Google, Iron Fist podcast, you'll find us. We talk about everything Iron Fist that's new. We also did, the first run of the comics. And hey, two of us actually did martial arts and fought, so we get to talk about how annoying it is when non-martial artists write martial arts comics. And then we have Last Sons of Krypton, a Superman podcast, which I do with Ray. The whole premise is I'm not a Superman newbie, he is. So we go through whatever we feel like because Superman has genres and stuff. We can just pick whatever. And actually, Tyler from Krypton Report, who seems to be gone, him and James have come on the new episode to do the Justice League animated series, the first 3 episodes of that. That's going up soon, which will be fun. And yeah.
Tricky Dickies.
There you go, Ray. All right. So, yeah, and you can find Capes and Lunatics. Well, email us your thoughts because there's a lot of thoughts here. capesandlunatics@gmail.com or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And find links to all of our social media, links to this YouTube, links to the Patreon, links to merch.
Stay hydrated, my friends. It's nobody's business what you drink on a Zoom call.
That's right. So find links to everything at Linktree, linktr.ee/capesandlunatics. All right. And please remember to support our sponsors, Tweaked Audio and Hunt-A-Killer.
And use the code Southgate on both of those. Master Doom would kill us if we didn't mention it. Literally.
Yeah.
And also pick up Pod Life, the book, now in digital and paperback, and in the works, the audiobook, Marnell. So
get your chapters in, people!
Rob's looking for people to record their stuff. So yes, the audiobook is coming. Pick that up on Amazon. When you do, use the link for Southgate Media Group right down there in the show notes. Help us support this show, the network, and
that Martian Manhunter posing as Martha Southgate.
It was Martha.
It rain. So says Master Doom. You're weak sauce.
All right, Lilith, where can people find you if they dare?
You can find me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire. If you're into short form comic book stuff and occasional spicy memes, at Lilith Hellfire69 on TikTok and Instagram. Not in the face!
Charlie Esser.
Well, if you too believe that it was Martha all along, as I do believe, you can reach out to me at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And of course, follow me on Twitter as I live tweet something someday when something is interesting. At Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Maz. Sorry, hit a bad note there earlier.
All right, kids. gone through the Snyder Cut. It'll take us maybe 2.5 hours. All right, next week, we're covering the first, 4 episodes of Invincible? Something better. Something a lot better. All right. For another week, we have been your capes.
Ampersand.
Lunatics!
Everybody say it.
Say it.
It. There we go.
Much better movie.
Part 1, not part 2.
They all float down here.
They all float down here.
And if you survive this, you deserve a medal.
Hello, everyone. This is Russell from the Tomes of Evil podcast, and I'm sending in my thoughts on Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now, when it comes to movies in general, but I will also say comic book movies, I'm not really hard to please. Even the worst MCU film I found at least somewhat enjoyable. I could not say the same for the original version of Justice League. I thought it was one of my least favorite movies I have ever seen in my lifetime. Well, thankfully, I will not say the same thing about this version of the film because it's very good. The bar was set so low that I couldn't help but enjoy this version. A lot of it is exposition. A lot of it is character development, but that was stuff that this movie really needed. It needed that substance. It needed some of that. Doesn't really feel like a 4-hour movie at all. Kind of flies by. I thought everyone was great in it, with one exception. I don't know why I cannot get behind Ezra Miller as the Flash. He just seems very cringy, but I did enjoy that scene. I enjoyed most of his Speed Force style scenes, especially the one where he grabs the hot dog while saving Iris. I thought that was really funny. I laughed out loud at that. I thought Cyborg was great. They really nurtured him in this version. He was, in a lot of ways, it was his movie. He was great. Ray Fisher was great. One of my biggest complaints about the original Justice League was that Batman kind of felt like a comic relief character. He was kind of a peon, which I get that he is the only one that's not superpowered. But I felt like in this version he had a little bit more to say and do. And he was less jokey, I guess. The CGI is not nowhere near Marvel level. DC has always had a problem with their CGI ever since Man of Steel. But also maybe COVID had something to do with some of the CGI in this. But I will say Steppenwolf looks way better, and he actually has some depth to him. We actually kind of see some of his, the machinations of his mind. It's always great hearing Wonder Woman's theme when she kicks some butt. Always down for that. I felt like some of the added stuff was a little unnecessary, like the woman, the choir singing to Aquaman as he goes back into the sea. I thought that was strange, unneeded. I thought the epilogue was definitely unneeded, especially since we're probably not going to get a continuation of this movie at all. This was by far Jared Leto's best performance as the Joker, but it is still not nearly good enough. I wasn't really a fan of that scene. There was some good stuff, and of course you got to hear Batman drop the F-bomb, but whatever. And then, okay, well, let's get to the meat of this. It was awesome to finally see Darkseid. I was not entirely thrilled with his design, but I was happy that he was finally in a movie. It's long overdue. It was good to see Desaad. It was good to see a little glimpse of Granny Goodness in there. Hopefully we'll see Darkseid again in the, I guess, the New Gods film. I assume that's still happening. And it was great to see Martian Manhunter, even though he was kind of unnecessary. He made little to no sense in the story. But yeah, and then you got these little cameos from DC characters like, Ryan Choi as, the Atom, and Crispus Allen, the second host of the Spectre, was in there. And, we got Deathstroke and Lex. But yeah, I thought it was an enjoyable movie. It was pretty much 100 times better than the regular version, but still not nearly. I think it was better. I enjoyed it better than Man of Steel or Batman vs Superman, and I actually liked those movies. But still, it's not perfect, but it was fun. So there's my thoughts. Please check out Tomes of Evil. We currently have 3 shows ongoing with some new ones coming very soon. So yeah, check me out. Thanks.